To escape my family constant nagging to get married, I paid 10 yuan online to hire a girl for a fake wedding. But at the registry, the clerk glared at me with pure disgust. "You are already married," she snapped. "Are you trying to commit bigamy?" Walking out of the Civil Affairs Bureau, I stared at the printed marriage certificate, completely stunned. The girl I hired sighed. "Mr. Liu, you are already married, so why waste money on me?" She quickly added that the deposit was non-refundable and bolted. I stood there, my mind completely blank. I had never even held a girl's hand, so how could I be married? I stared at the paper again. The man in the photo was definitely me. The woman was named Su Wangqing. She was gorgeous, but I had absolutely no idea who she was. I snapped a photo and sent it to a contact with a black profile picture asking them to find her. The reply came instantly. Suppressing my confusion, I rode my beat-up electric scooter into a luxury villa estate. As I parked, the servants whispered behind my back, "Who is he? He is so handsome." Shh, quiet. "He is the unacknowledged bastard son of the Liu family. His mother showed up pregnant years ago, demanding justice. That thick-skinned old woman refused to leave, and he actually knew his place enough to move out during middle school. Who knows why he's back today?" Frowning, I pretended not to hear and avoided the main living room, walking instead to the entrance. My mother, Liu Shuiqin, spotted me and immediately dragged me upstairs. "Come see your brother first." "Did you get the marriage certificate?" I replied flatly. "Yes, good," she said. "Just remember your place. Su Xiao is your brother's fiancée. A top-tier wealthy family like that is not something an illegitimate son like you can dream of. Only your brother is worthy of her." I smirked inwardly. Su Xiao had chased me for 4 years in college, only to hook up with my brother Liu Jingshen on graduation day. Liu Shuiqin demanded that I marry someone immediately to completely end things with Su Xiao. Since childhood, whenever my interests clashed with Liu Jingshen, she forced me to step aside. I stared at her coldly. "We agreed this is the last time. Consider this payment for giving birth to me." She waved her hand impatiently. I know. When we entered Liu Jingshen's room, he smiled. "Liu Nanzhou, what are you doing here?" Before I could answer, Liu Shuiqin cut in. "Jingshen, Liu Nanzhou got married today." Liu Jingshen looked shocked. "So fast. Who is she?" "Is she better than Xiao?" Liu Shuiqin sneered. "How is that possible? In this entire city, no one has a higher status than Miss Su. What kind of girl could he find? Probably some street thug. He did not even dare to bring her here, fearing her shabby appearance would dirty your eyes." Liu Jingshen said with a hint of jealousy, "How could that be? Liu Nanzhou is so handsome, otherwise Xiao would not have chased him for 4 years. What is the use of looks? With his status, only some cheap trash would marry him. Miss Su only treated him as a toy to play with. Only you Jingshen are worthy of her." I frowned. The stunning woman in that photo did not look like a street thug at all, but I was too lazy to argue. Meanwhile, Liu Jingshen was fully dressed, adjusting his watch and trying to put on his leather shoes, but his tight shirt made it hard to bend over. He smiled and looked at me. "Liu, so what if she is cold? Dress her yourself." "Liu Nanzhou, what is that attitude? Think you are a big shot just because you got married. You still have to support this family." Liu Shuiqin shrieked, raising her voice. "If you do not suck up to your brother now, one day, you and your wife will end up begging him. Besides, we raised you, so you should work like a dog for this family." Before I could even fire back my father, Liu Yuanshan suddenly appeared at the door. "An important guest is arriving soon." "What are you shouting about?" Liu Shuiqin sobbed loudly. "It is all because of this ungrateful son he got married today, and completely ignores his mother." Liu Yuanshan turned to me. "You are married. Why did you not let us set you up? Do you have the certificate? Let me see." Facing this strange father and his fake concern, I hesitated, then pulled the printed copy from my bag. The next second, Liu Shuiqin snatched it away. "Let me see what this trash wife of yours is called." Meanwhile, Liu Jingshen asked, "Curiously, Dad, who is coming? That makes you so nervous." Remembering that person, Liu Yuanshan immediately looked honored. He excitedly announced her name, Su Wangqing. Hearing it, I instantly froze. Seeing our confused looks, Liu Yuanshan explained with pride, "It is normal you do not know her. She is incredibly mysterious. Even I have never met her. She is Su Xiao's young aunt. She is only 28 years old, but she is already the true head of the Su family." Liu Shuiqin gasped. "Then is she not even better suited for Jingshen than Su Xiao? The head of the family is way better than some granddaughter." Liu Yuanshan snapped, "What nonsense are you talking? Miss Su is already married." I narrowed my eyes. "Married. If the woman on my marriage certificate is truly her, then Su Wangqing must know exactly what is going on." Liu Shuiqin looked disappointed. "Who is her husband? How could anyone be luckier than Jingshen?" Liu Yuanshan frowned in deep thought. "No one knows. Rumor has it that she and her husband hate socializing. I have no idea why she is visiting in person today." Liu Shuiqin sneered confidently. It must be because Jingshin is so outstanding. He caught their attention. Shoving the unread printout back to me, she grabbed Jingshin's hand excitedly. I smiled, mockingly. She cared more than Mrs. Liu, his real mother, ever could. Just then the butler came up to announce the Su family was arriving. Lu Yuanshan rushed downstairs. Passing by me, he said casually, "You haven't been home in a while. Stay for a wedding drink?" I nodded. I had to stay. I had to see who Su Wangqing really was. In the bedroom, Liu Shuiqin stared at Lu Jingshin as he got ready to marry into wealth, her eyes overflowing with joy. 20 years ago, if Nan Jinchu had not appeared, Liu Shuiqin would have married my father. She hated Nan Jinchu deeply. To get revenge, since they gave birth on the exact same day, Liu Shuiqin swapped us in the hospital. Now her biological son is the pampered young master of the Liu family, while I, the true heir, am treated like a worthless bastard. Downstairs, I leaned in the shadows, watching the door. I waited quietly for the Su family. Eventually, Mrs. Liu came downstairs, supported by a servant. Wearing a purple kapao, she looked incredibly frail but elegant. The servant whispered, "Madam, your health is so poor. You really should not have come down." But Mrs. Liu shook her head. Coughing, she shook her head. "No, Jingshin is getting married today. I cannot miss it." I watched her back, my heart aching with deep, silent affection. It is ironic that in this cold house, she was my only warmth. When I was a kid, Liu Shuiqin starved me constantly. But once Mrs. Liu found out, she began leaving food in the garden for me every single day. She did that for 12 years. Without her kindness, I would have given up on myself long ago. Hearing her cough as she walked away, I frowned with worry. Suddenly, the front door opened. The Su family had arrived. Lu Yuanshan and Mrs. Liu welcomed them warmly. As they stepped aside, the crowd streamed in. My eyes instantly locked onto Su Wangqing. She was even more stunning than her picture, radiating a powerful, icy grace. Sensing my gaze, she suddenly turned and looked right at me. That sharp, intense look made my heart skip a beat. Before I could read her expression, she looked away, leaving me completely baffled. Does she recognize me or not? Lu Yuanshan flattered her with a smile. "Miss Su, where is your husband? Did he not join you today?" When he asked that, I felt Su Wangqing glance at me again. "He was busy," she replied smoothly. The crowd escorted her to the parlor. Su Xiao, who had chased me for 4 years, followed behind. She looked more elegant than in college, completely oblivious to my presence. She was just chatting distractedly with Lu Jingshin. As I stood there in silence, Liu Shuiqin suddenly grabbed my arm. "Lu Nanju, what are you still doing here?" she hissed under her breath. "Are you still dreaming about Su Xiao? Let me remind you, she is your sister-in-law now." I shook her hand off with a smirk. "Relax, I am not interested in being the other man. Mr. Liu invited me to stay for a drink. Ever since I can remember, I have called my father Mr. Liu." Liu Shuiqin gritted her teeth. "He was just being polite, you idiot. You really have no self-awareness. In a place like this, even I am careful not to embarrass the family. How does a bastard like you deserve a seat? Get out of here right now." I frowned, losing my patience. Just as I was about to fire back, I noticed Su Wangqing heading toward the balcony to answer a call. I brushed past Liu Shuiqin and followed her. Just as I approached, Su Wangqing up and turned her freezing gaze on me. I paused, but then I smirked, meeting her dangerous eyes. "Wife," I murmured, testing her reaction. Her eyes turned to ice. I stared at her, waiting for any reaction, but her expression only grew colder. There was not a shred of emotion in her gaze as she turned to leave. I quickly stepped in front of her, blocking her path. "Do you really not know me?" She looked down at me. "Should I know you, sir? I am married." "Respect yourself." I was stunned. She clearly did not know me, yet claimed to be married. "Did the bureau register us wrong? Who is your husband?" "None of your business," she snapped. I pulled out the copy of our marriage certificate, holding it out. "Miss Su, this bride is you, right?" She stared at the groom's name, sneering. "Mr. Liu. The real thing is cheap. If you fake it, do better." With that, she ignored the living room and strode toward the parking lot. I rushed to explain, but 2 bodyguards blocked me. I yelled after her, "Miss Su, this is real. If you do not believe me, go check with the bureau." Su Wangqing drove away, leaving her assistant behind. Walking back inside, I ran into Lu Jingshin, whose eyes flickered when he saw me. Lu Yuanshan looked deeply worried. "Why did Miss Su leave? Did we fail to host her properly?" Jingshin clenched his fists, acting hesitant. "I saw Lu Nanzhou pestering Miss Su. She left in a rage, warning us to teach our family some manners. Will the Sus think we lack upbringing because of him?" Lu Yuanshan's face instantly turned pale. Meanwhile, I lost her on my electric scooter. Just as I was cursing my luck, my phone rang. A female voice spoke. "Boss, I found her info. Su Wangqing is the patriarch's second daughter. Rumors say she is cold and ruthless, sent abroad when she was young. Everyone thought the family business would go to the eldest son, Su Xiao's father, but she returned last week, used brutal tactics to force the old man to step down and seize the Su group. I frowned. Get her contact details and schedule. I will find her then. I hung up and rubbed my temples. This was getting messy. Someone with her status is hard to reach. I should not have slipped up and called her wife today, driving her off. I sighed, heading home on my scooter. Leaving the busy downtown, I rode to the suburban slums. When I left the Liu family years ago with barely a cent, I rented a rundown place here. As I turned the corner toward my building, an elderly woman suddenly darted out. I slammed on the brakes, barely missing her. I thought it was a scam, but she was well dressed with a card around her neck listing a phone number. It read, "If found, please call. Generous reward." She clearly had dementia. An elderly woman with Alzheimer's was wandering around lost. I quickly pulled out my phone to call the number on her ID tag, but the dazed lady suddenly grabbed my wrist, her eyes lighting up. "Granddaughter's husband. You're my granddaughter's husband." My lip twitched. I've been single for 22 years, so how did I suddenly get a wife today? It was actually pretty funny. I casually asked Grandma, "Who is your granddaughter? What's her name?" "Oh, right, her name is Su. What was it again?" The name she just recalled vanished the moment she tried to say it. She grew anxious, her mouth opening and closing. "Don't worry, Grandma, take your time." "It's fine if you can't remember," I said to calm her down before dialing the number. Meanwhile, just a few blocks away, Su Wangqing was sitting inside a Bentley with a dark expression. Her assistant, Liu Qiang, barely dared to breathe, stammering that it was his fault for losing the old lady. She didn't say a word, radiating cold anger. The old lady was usually completely out of it. No one expected her mind to suddenly clear up today, letting her trick the staff and slip away. They checked the surveillance footage and realized she had actually taken a bus all the way to the suburbs. This rundown area barely had any street cameras installed. They had to start a massive grid search. Right then her phone rang. Su Wangqing answered instantly, and my calm voice came through. "Hello, your grandmother is with me right now." The air inside the car froze instantly. Her team scrambled into action, with some getting ready to call the police. Liu Qiang immediately tried to trace my signal. Su Wangqing's eyes turned sharp as she asked icily, "How much money do you want?" I chuckled and said, "Just kidding. I wanted to tell you to take better care of your family." I gave her the address and hung up. 5 minutes later they arrived, but I was already gone. Only a police officer remained to watch over the old lady. Su Wangqing rushed over and asked Grandma, "Why did you come all the way out here?" The old lady grinned playfully and whispered, "I came to find my grandson-in-law. He lives nearby." Su Wangqing froze. "Grandma, there is no grandson-in-law. No way, I saw him myself. That heartless guy handed me over to the police and just left." "Oh, hand me your phone for a second." Su Wangqing gave it to her, and the old lady quickly copied my number from the call history into her little notebook. She finally had her grandson-in-law's contact info. The next morning, I received a call. It was Professor Wen from my university. The moment I walked into his office, I saw Liu Jingshan and Liu Xueqin standing there. Liu Jingshan and I both went to Haicheng University. He always acted like the star student, so to avoid stealing his spotlight, I had deliberately majored in the most obscure field energy and power engineering. But then 2 years ago, new energy suddenly became massive. Liu Jingshan immediately transferred over and became my classmate again. Having him here made sense, but why on earth was Liu Xueqin here? Before I could think it through, Professor Wen spoke with a grim face. "Lu Nanzhou, your graduate recommendation has been canceled. Your mother claims your character is flawed. She says you don't meet the requirements. Is there some misunderstanding between you two? Just apologize to her. You have a bright future. Don't ruin it over some petty anger." Liu Jingshan sighed and chimed in, "Professor Wen, his mother is only doing what is best for him." Then he turned to me. "You offended Miss Su. Miss Su said she wants you gone from Haicheng completely." It took me a second to realize he meant Su Wangqing. But I only exchanged a couple of words with her, and she didn't seem angry at all when she left yesterday. Liu Jingshan, however, was a pathological liar who couldn't be trusted. In the restroom, Liu Jingshan cornered me. "Lu Nanzhou, Dad, bought this plane ticket for you. He wants you to go abroad and lie low, or the family won't be able to shield you." I felt a surge of pure disgust. They just didn't want me dragging them down. Seeing me refuse, he pulled out a bank card. "Are you worried you won't survive over there? There are 50,000 yen here. Take it as a personal gift from me to cover your expenses. I will send you more later." I almost laughed out loud. The heir to the Liu family could only offer 50,000 yen. Suddenly, Liu Xueqin snatched the card away. "Jingshan, what are you doing? The Liu family buying him a ticket is already doing him a massive favor." She glared at me and snapped, "Pack your bags and get out of the country. I already withdrew you from school." I stared back at her with icy eyes. "What right do you have to decide my life?" "Because I am your mother. Besides, with your terrible grades, you probably wouldn't even graduate. You are better off working abroad to make some money anyway." Professor Wen couldn't watch this anymore. "Mrs. Liu, you have it wrong. Nanzhou's academic performance is actually," but she cut him off instantly. "Professor, don't defend him. I know exactly what kind of trash he is. He only wanted to go to grad school because Jingshan was doing it. He needs to look in the mirror and see what a nobody he is compared to my Jingshan professor." Wen winced, turning to Lu Jingshan. "Wait, you weren't recommended or tested. I remember you didn't qualify for recommendation or take the entrance exams." Lu Jingshan smiled humbly and replied, "I got in through a special admission program." Seeing the professor look confused, he put on a modest act. "It was because Dr. Nan patented a new clean fuel technology, and then he was awarded the title of Dr. Nan." I froze in utter shock. "Dr. Nan, how did I not know I was getting a special admission to repay Mrs. Liu for raising me? I had spent years providing technical support to the Liu family business under the pseudonym Dr. Nan, inventing a story about being a sponsored student. My mother sponsored Dr. Nan back then, so once he finished his studies, he came to thank her as his savior. He has been giving our company technical support ever since, so he wouldn't refuse any request of mine." Professor Wen swallowed the lie completely and eagerly asked where this Dr. Nan was teaching. "I promised the dean I would invite Dr. Nan to teach at our university." Professor Wen was thrilled and turned to me. "Lu Nanzhou, your research matches Dr. Nan's. I will introduce you to him. If he vouches for you, we might save your spot." Lu Jingshan immediately put on a worried look. "Professor, is that wise? The Su family is the wealthiest in Haicheng, and they fund our research every year. Dr. Nan is incredibly popular right now. If he speaks up, the school will certainly listen." Then he sighed. "But Dr. Nan only does things for my mother's sake. He would do anything for me, but Lu Nanzhou is just my father's illegitimate son. He is on the opposite side of my mother. Nanzhou, maybe I should ask Dr. Nan for you." I sneered inwardly. Lu Jingshan was acting like a total clown. I turned to the professor. "Professor Wen, you know I never wanted to go to grad school anyway." Liu Shuiqin sneered. "Don't waste your breath. You offended Miss Su and still think you can get a job in this city. Keep dreaming. I don't believe anyone can completely block someone in Haicheng. If you cannot find work, come assist me," Professor Wen said warmly. My heart warmed at his kindness. "Professor, it's just a small misunderstanding between Miss Su and me. We can clear it up easily, so please don't worry." Lu Jingshan clenched his fists, his voice dripping with sarcasm. "Lu Nanzhou, are you going to keep harassing Miss Su? She is already married. What you are doing is really shameful." Lu Shuiqin instantly exploded in rage and slapped me right across the face. I stared at her in complete disbelief. I never expected her to strike me right in front of my professor. She showed no remorse, pointing at my nose and screaming. "It's been a few years since I beat you and you've forgotten the family rules. Apologize to your brother right now and promise you'll never see the Su family again." All warmth drained from my eyes, replaced by icy rage. She obviously ignored my warning, still thinking I was that submissive kid who worshipped Lu Jingshan. Since they wouldn't listen to reason, I was done being nice. Lu Jingshan watched from the side, incredibly smug. When we were kids, I shrank before him, never fighting back. Even after I moved away and bumped into him at college, I still looked dirt poor, yet I dared to stand tall in front of him. He thought I had forgotten my place after a few quiet years. He wanted Liu Shuiqin to teach me a lesson. Just as he smiled, expecting me to apologize, I walked up and did something unexpected. I threw a powerful punch right into his face. Lu Jingshan stumbled back, completely dazed. Liu Shuiqin rushed at me, screaming, "Nanzhou, how dare you strike your brother?" I slowly turned my head, radiating pure, lethal energy. She froze right in her tracks, terrified by my expression. "What are you doing?" "You ungrateful brat, I am your mother. Are you going to hit me too?" My voice was icy cold. "Since you fail to act like a mother, don't expect me to act like a son. Stay out of my life, or whatever you try to do to me, I will pay it back double onto Lu Jingshan." I turned away and bowed deeply to Professor Wen, thanking him for guiding me over the past 4 years. I promised him I would be back once my personal issues were sorted out. Then I turned and walked out without looking back. Lu Shuiqin only snapped out of her shock after I was gone. Just as I walked out of the campus gates, Ji Yue called me. "Boss, I figured it out. I know why Su Wangqing claims she is married but has no idea who you are. The Su family looks prestigious, but they've been fighting internally. The patriarch favors the eldest son and wants to hand them everything. As the youngest daughter, Su Wangking has been constantly pushed down. A few years ago, the old man tried to force her into marriages with shady business heirs. To stop the absolute chaos, she claimed she had already married a regular guy. That was the only thing that shut them up. But this mysterious husband of hers is hilarious. He has never shown his face in public or attended a single family dinner. Basically, there is only one truth, and that is, Ji Yue dragged out his words to keep me guessing, but I already figured it out. Have you tracked down her schedule? I asked. Ji Yue sent over her schedule for the next few days. I couldn't trace her private cell phone number, he admitted. It's fine, I'll go corner her myself. A woman of her status keeps her line heavily guarded anyway. Ji Yue immediately became curious and started gossiping about her security. She's always surrounded by bodyguards, boss. Are you planning to break through them, or should we keep a low profile? A rogue grin played on my lips. Standing in front of the Sioux Group headquarters, I straightened my courier uniform, walked inside with a cardboard box, and told the receptionist, this is for Miss Sue. It requires her personal signature. The receptionist called the executive assistants before letting me up. I rode the private elevator up to the 88th floor. Stepping out, the massive space opened up before me. Over 100 secretaries worked in this department, all dedicated to serving one person. I followed the assistant, guiding me toward the president's office. I knocked, and a sweet voice called out from inside, come in. Just as I thought I was in, a heavy figure blocked my path. The chief assistant, Liu Qiang, glared at me with a frown. Mr. Liu, what are you doing here? Liu Qiang looked furious. He clearly remembered me approaching Su Wangking at the Liu estate yesterday. Since she hadn't punished me, I had the nerve to show up today disguised as a delivery guy to stalk her. He waved over 2 security guards. How did this random trash get up here? Throw him out right now. My expression remained entirely calm. What's the issue here? Does the Sioux Group look down on delivery workers? Liu Qiang sneered. You really love twisting things, don't you? We respect every job, but are you even a real courier? Do you have an ID badge? Before he could finish his sentence, I shoved my official ID card right in front of his face. His expression froze. Did you just register this account today? I flipped the badge open, showing the date. Liu Qiang gasped in shock. 8 years ago, you actually work as a courier to pay for your school. Is that a crime? I asked casually. I raised my voice toward the office door. Miss Sue, can you sign for this delivery now? A pleasant voice came from inside the room. Let him in. I gave Liu Qiang a smug smirk, passing him just as he was about to explode. Her office was minimalist and elegant. The whole room felt cold and sterile. After finishing her paperwork, Su Wangking looked up, her eyes empty of any emotion. I pointed to the slip. Miss Sue, please sign here. Her eyes lingered on me for a brief second before she signed. That's when I decided to drop a bomb. Miss Sue, you're not actually married, are you? Her pen froze instantly. She raised her head, locking an icy glare right onto me. I knew I was right. When registering at the Civil Affairs Bureau, the form had to be filled out by hand. There was no room for error. Yet she claimed she was married without knowing me. After looking into the contract, the truth was obvious. Su Wangking had fabricated a fake husband to satisfy her nagging family. Since she never stepped foot in the registry office, she had no idea we were actually married. Miss Sue, I said earnestly, I know this sounds crazy, but we really are married. Su Wangking sat up gracefully, her face turning cold. Mr. Liu, save your breath. Even if I were single, I would never marry you just to spite Su Xiao. I was stunned. She only knew about my past with Su Xiao and assumed I wanted revenge. No wonder she refused to believe a word I said. I tried to explain. I'm not here because of Su Xiao. I want a divorce. I have zero interest in your drama. She interrupted quickly, signing the delivery slip and handing it back. Do not harass me again or I will make things difficult. Hearing that my temper flared up a bit too. Aren't you already being difficult? You literally threatened to run me out of Haicheng. Su Wangking frowned. When did I ever? Before she could finish, her phone rang. It was her grandmother's dedicated ringtone. She answered instantly, and the caregiver panicked on the other end. Miss Sue, the old lady, has disappeared again? Su Wangking rushed out in a panic. I wanted to follow her to clear things up, but Liu Qiang blocked my path. Mr. Liu, I suggest you stop here. And just like that, I was escorted out of the Sioux Group. I walked home slowly, but right at my doorstep, I spun around. There she was, the old lady from before. She was sneaking behind me, looking incredibly suspicious. Helpless, I opened my mouth to speak, but the little old lady grabbed my wrist. Grandson-in-law, you won't abandon me again. Inside my rented apartment, she sat at the table, chugging 3 glasses of water. I am really not your grandson-in-law, I pleaded. Yes, you are. She was stubborn, clutching her glass and gulping down another. Realizing I could not reason with her, I pulled out my phone and dialed the number from last time. It rang once, before a voice answered. "Hello." The woman's voice sounded oddly familiar. But before I could speak, the old lady snatched the phone right out of my hand. Meanwhile, Su Wonking was leading a search party nearby. She looked calm, but panic was setting in. Grandma did not just have Alzheimer's at 87, her body was failing. She could be in mortal danger at any second. The moment her phone rang, Su Wonking answered. She heard her grandmother's energetic voice roar through the speaker. "You brat, do not come looking for me. I am with my grandson-in-law." Recognizing the phone number, Su Wonking realized her grandmother was back with that same boy from last time. With a dark face, she demanded, "Where are you not telling? Do you think I cannot find you? You are not allowed to look for me or track me." Su Wonking rubbed her temples, covered the speaker, and whispered to the doctor, "Can we bring her back by force?" The doctor shook his head. "She cannot handle any stress right now. It is best to humor her. Besides, that boy did not seem dangerous." Feeling completely helpless, Su Wonking spoke into the phone again. "Grandma, I still need to send you your medicine." "No need, I have it with me. Just wait for me to bring your husband home." She hung up, handed the phone back, and smiled proudly. All taken care of, grandson-in-law? I stood there, utterly baffled. What kind of reckless family just leaves an elderly woman with a complete stranger? Just as I went to call back, a WeChat notification chimed. Someone was requesting to add me with a note saying the old lady's granddaughter. I accepted the request and she quickly messaged me. "Please look after my grandmother for a while. She is unwell and cannot be stressed." I scoffed, typing a cold reply. "Not convenient. Do not run a charity here." Before I could even hit send, a noise echoed from the kitchen. I rushed in to find the old lady boiling an egg. "Are you hungry?" I asked. "An egg is not enough for a meal." She turned, her wrinkled face softening. "Grandson-in-law, roll this egg on your face. It will help the swelling." I froze. Maybe I had not realized it, but after being slapped by my own mother earlier, I had wrapped myself in a cold wall of detachment from the world. Now her warm words melted that icy barrier away. A gentle warmth flooded my chest. Then, looking down at my phone, a bright orange notification flashed in the chat. A transfer of 300,000 yen with a note for 1 week of expenses. Let me know if you need more. I stared at the screen and erased my draft. Fine, I will do it. I had no idea why I was suddenly meddling in this, but told myself she simply paid too much. Meanwhile, at the Liu mansion, Liu Jingshen's cheek was swollen with a clear handprint. Liu Xueqin sneered. "That little beast Lanzhou is just jealous you are marrying Su Xiao. Just wait until your father gets back. He will teach him a lesson." Madame Lu Nanjinchu dragged her frail, sick body downstairs, her voice weak but firm. "Lanzhou is not like that. You must have provoked him first." Frustrated, Liu Jingshen quickly changed the subject. "Mom, can you invite Dr. Nan to be a mentor at Haicheng University?" Madame Lu flatly refused. "Jingshen, we cannot take advantage of his kindness. Dr. Nan has already done far too much for our family and company." Liu Jingshen expected this. Haicheng University was the finest school in the region. Maybe Dr. Nan actually wants to go. We would just be building a bridge for him. It is a way to repay him for all these years of help. Madame Lu found this reasonable and opened WeChat. Let me ask him then. Liu Jingshen sat closer, smiling inwardly. He has done so much. Any debt we owed him is long paid. We should host a dinner to thank him, and you can ask him in person. Dr. Nan never refused Madame Lu. Once he arrived, Liu Jingshen could ask to be his student, and he would not say no. Madame Lu was convinced. She messaged Dr. Nan. "Little Nan, do you have time to visit?" Seeing the text, my heart skipped a beat. Why would she suddenly ask to meet? Was her health declining? Thinking of her constant coughing, panic set in. I stood up immediately, typing, "I am free, I can head over now." But before I could rush out the door, her reply came. "Not right now." "Don't you work Saturdays? I just wanted to host a casual dinner." I realized I had panicked. Remembering being cast out 10 years ago, I let out a bitter smile. "After all these years, I guess it is time to meet face to face." I replied, "I should be the one treating you. Saturday at 6 p.m., see you there," and sent the restaurant location. Exiting her chat, I noticed several unread messages from Su Wonking. They were instructions on how to care for her grandmother. I walked over quietly and filmed a quick video to send her. Meanwhile, down the street, 2 luxury vans were parked discreetly. Su Wonking was working on her laptop inside when her phone suddenly buzzed with a notification. Su Wonking checked her phone and a rare flicker of surprise crossed her usually frozen face. The family doctor asked immediately, "Did something happen to the old lady?" Su Wonking silently handed him her phone. In the video, Grandma was sleeping peacefully on floral sheets. It was only 9 p.m. Usually they were lucky if Grandma fell asleep before 1 a.m. The doctor looked astonished. The old lady behaves completely differently around this boy. If he could keep her company regularly, her health would certainly improve. Su Wonking stared at the screen, her eyes narrowing as she pondered. She seemed lost in thought. The next morning I received another text from her. Our casual back and forth was starting to feel like chatting with an old friend. She suddenly asked, "Can I visit Grandma tonight?" Of course, anytime. I replied, sending over my address. As I waited idly outside my door, a familiar voice called out. I turned to see a familiar face. It was Su Xiao. The face I remembered as sweet and caring was now glaring at me coldly. Back in college, I was a loner, but she was cheerful and always by my side. She was my only real friend, but now our dynamic was incredibly awkward. I hesitated before asking, "Can I help you?" Su Xiao sneered. "Lu Jingshan told me the truth about your background. Why did you hide it? I chased a fraud like you for 4 years like an idiot." My heart tightened painfully. I never expected 4 years of friendship to be shattered so effortlessly. I took a step back, but she lunged forward. "Do you have absolutely nothing to say to explain yourself?" I let out a dry laugh. "No." Before I could say more, I turned to walk away. If she looked down on my background, this friendship was over. My cold dismissal irritated her. Seeing me walk away, she reached out and grabbed my wrist. "You cannot leave." I looked back, exasperated. "What else do you want?" Her face twisted with anger. Anger flared inside her. I was the one walking away, yet she looked as if she were the one being abandoned. Then came her mockery. "Still working odd jobs. Guess you cannot find a real career. Why don't you become my personal assistant?" Shaking off her grip, I refused coldly. "I am not interested." Su Xiao smirked. "You barely have to do anything. Just live in my apartment nearby and tend to my daily needs. Is 50,000 a month enough?" My eyes went dead cold. "You want me to be your secret lover?" Su Xiao let out a scoff. "You would be perfect at it. After all, your mother was a mistress. You grew up watching her, so it is in your blood. I am sure you are a natural." Enraged, I shoved her to the ground, staring down at her. "Enough." She stood up, laughing. "Think about it. You can find me anytime." With that parting shot, she walked away. I let out a self-deprecating laugh, but when I turned, I saw Su Wonking standing by a private dining room door. She hated socializing and was leaving with Liu Chang when she stumbled onto our entire confrontation. Liu Chang's expression was unreadable. "No wonder you did not find a stable job after college and kept working multiple part-time gigs. Su Xiao has been backing you into a corner." I stared at him, utterly bewildered. Liu Chang let out a deep sigh. "So that explains why you harassed our boss. You had no choice. Nobody in Haicheng dares to cross the Su family." I narrowed my eyes, choosing not to argue. This was our first peaceful conversation in 2 days. Liu Chang looked at her sympathetically. "Boss, maybe we should help him out. He is quite pitiful." A spark of hope lit up inside me. Yes, help this poor guy and divorce me at the registry office. My company is waiting to go public. But my hopes were instantly dashed when Su Wonking spoke coldly. "Why should I offend Su Xiao for someone so completely insignificant?" She brushed past me. Pitiful. Whenever she looked into my eyes, she saw nothing but raw calculation and amusement. There was not a single pitiful bone in my body. The corridor fell silent. I stood there alone. Whatever. I have an elderly woman to care for. I will try again tomorrow. That evening, Su Wonking left work on time and drove to the old suburban neighborhood. Carrying a basket of fruit, she knocked on the door. Once inside, she looked around. Though it was only a 60-square-meter, 2-bedroom apartment, it was incredibly neat and cozy. Suddenly, the sound of running water echoed from the bathroom. Su Wonking looked away, instantly feeling a sudden jolt of embarrassment. The family doctor went to step inside, but she blocked him. "Give me the equipment and wait in the car." She went in alone and checked Grandma's vitals. Thanks to a good night of sleep, everything looked incredibly healthy. The old lady beamed with pride. "My grandson-in-law takes such perfect care of me," seeing the evidence with her own eyes. Su Wonking finally breathed a sigh of relief. She stole another glance toward the bathroom before packing up. "Since you are doing well, Grandma, I will head out." Grandma blinked in surprise. "Aren't you staying for dinner?" "My grandson-in-law's cooking is amazing. It is not convenient." Su Wonking replied, setting the medical kit down. "I will leave this here." The old lady shook her head. "Take it, he does not know how to use it. I want you here daily." Just as Su Wonking went to argue, the shower water stopped running. Panicking, she grabbed her medical kit and rushed toward the exit. "I must go. I will see you tomorrow." The moment the door slammed shut, I walked out fully dressed. "Where is your granddaughter?" "She already left." "What do you mean, inconvenient? He is just too stiff and always scowling." "Grandson-in-law, is that why you do not like him? He can change." "I am not your grandson-in-law." "Yes, you are." I felt completely helpless. Over the last 2 days, she was incredibly sweet and let me have my way in everything, except she was incredibly stubborn on this one thing. A few days later, she wanted to go home to grab some clothes, so I texted her granddaughter for the address, but when I opened the map, I froze. Villa number 1. Is that not the Su family estate, Haicheng's most famous luxury district? I thought she just lived in some modest villa. I never associated her with the legendary Su family. But when we arrived, I stared up at the massive antique black gate covered in beautiful patterns. I hesitated. Grandma, is this your house? She looked around casually, her eyes blank. Grandson-in-law, I cannot remember. Left with no choice, I had to text her granddaughter. She replied instantly, telling us to wait right there. Soon a luxury car pulled up. Lu Jingshan and Liu Shuqin got out of the back seat and rushed toward us. Liu Shuqin frowned deeply. Nanzhou, it really is you. What on earth are you doing here? She was visiting the Su family today as Lu Jingshan's nanny and had spotted someone lingering near the gates from afar. She never expected it to be me. Lu Jingshan glared at the closed doors. Nanzhou, are you here to harass Miss Su Wanqing again? Hearing this, Liu Shuqin screamed furiously, You jerk! Do you even know what day it is? Get lost right now. If you ruin Jingshan's engagement, I will never let you off, though I was completely sick of them. The little old lady was here. Suppressing my annoyance, I explained I am just bringing her home and took a wrong turn. Lu Jingshan blurted out, Is that not your wife's grandmother? How could she possibly live in this neighborhood? I snapped back, why not? But Liu Shuqin sneered. Stop acting, how could your dirt-poor wife's grandma afford this place? She turned directly to the little old lady. Old hag, tell me then, which villa do you own? I frowned about to speak when the little old lady suddenly gasped. I remember now, I live right here. Grandson-in-law, let's go home. She grabbed my hand, pulling me toward the gates. We were still 100 meters away, but after just 2 steps, Lu Jingshan sneered. Nanzhou, you made all those excuses, but you are still using this old lady as a shield to sneak into the Su mansion. My footsteps halted and I stared ahead. Honestly, seeing this grand gate, a suspicion crossed my mind, but I could never connect that polite girl on the green chat app with the cold, ruthless Su Wanqing. Maybe Grandma made a mistake. Just as I was about to confirm, Liu Shuqin suddenly lunged forward, grabbing at her. You are not going into the Su house to make trouble. Shocked, I shielded the little old lady, grabbing Liu Shuqin and shoving her away. What do you think you are doing? Stumbling back, Liu Shuqin shrieked. You ungrateful brat. You actually beat your own mother for this old hag. I am calling the police. Ignoring her, I turned anxiously to the little old lady. Grandma had never been insulted like this. Trembling with rage, she clutched her chest, her body shaking uncontrollably. I quickly supported her and pulled her emergency heart pills from her pocket. But when I opened the bottle, it was completely empty. My pupils shrank. Her health was too fragile for emergency chest compressions unless absolutely necessary. She needed medicine. I stared at the massive gates. The Su family must have medicine. Even if she was not a Su, they were neighbors. They would not just watch her die. I scooped her up, but Lu Jingshan grabbed my arm. Nanzhou, stop this! The Su family won't let you in. He glared at Grandma with a dark look. I felt like exploding with rage. With absolute fury, I kicked him hard, sending him flying. But a second later, someone grabbed my leg tightly. Liu Shuqin was sitting on the ground, shamelessly clinging to me. I was shaking with rage, but mindful of Grandma in my arms, I couldn't break free. Just then, a black Bentley rolled up. Su Wanqing stepped out and demanded, What are you doing? Lu Jingshan scrambled to speak. Miss Su, it is Nanzhou. He is trying to scam your family by bringing a dying old lady here. It is my fault for not stopping him. Hearing this, Su Wanqing froze as she realized I was holding her grandmother. She rushed over. Grandma was her closest relative and her health had been failing. Su Wanqing was clearly panicked. I skipped the explanation and rushed to say she is having a heart attack. Her emergency medicine is empty. Get her pills now and she will be fine. Su Wanqing bit her lip, took Grandma, and dashed into the house. I could not follow because Liu Shuqin was still clutching my leg. While Lu Jingshan still doubted Grandma's identity, she finally let go, dusting herself off with a sneer. You just brought that old hag to crash the gates, didn't you? Just then, Su Xiao walked out. Lu Jingshan fawned instantly. Xiao, you could have waited in the parking lot. Why come all the way to the gate? Su Xiao forced a gentle smile. I worried you would get lost. Then she glared at me, her warmth turning ice cold. Nanzhou, did you come here because you finally changed your mind? I kept quiet, my face dark. If you changed your mind, just call me. Who said you could come here? Can an illegitimate son like you even step through these gates? Su Xiao sneered. But if you really want a tour, you can, as long as Xiao you misunderstand. Lu Jingshan interrupted. Lu Nanzhou is waiting for his wife's grandmother. The old lady just had a sudden heart attack and Miss Su Wangking took her inside. Su Xiao's eyes flashed with anger. She gritted her teeth. What wife Lu Nanzhou, who is that woman? I looked at her with mockery. Su Xiao, who my wife is none of your business. None of your business. Let us see who dares marry you without my permission. Lu Jingshen piped up. I heard from Nanzhou's mother. She is some low-class thug girl. Su Xiao clenched her fists. You degraded yourself like this, fine. And an illegitimate son and a thug really are a match made in heaven. Lu Jingshen kept adding fuel to the fire. Nanzhou must be bitter, which is why he keeps pestering Miss Su Wangking. I let out a cold laugh. Lu Jingshen, you call yourself the young master of the Lu family, but is your brain filled with nothing but trash? His face stiffened, his fists clenching. I know you are doing this to get revenge on Xiao and me, but Miss Su Wangking is already married. You should not try to ruin someone's marriage. Su Xiao was absolutely furious. She had spent 2 days waiting for my call, thinking she might let me off if I begged, but I had already found a backup plan. Enraged, she snapped, I knew it. Why else would your wife's grandma be at my gate? Turns out you came to find my Aunt Nanzhou. How can you be so shameless? Furious, she pointed at me, ordering the guard look closely. Remember this face. Never let him step into the Su estate again. Lu Jingshen lowered his head with a smug smirk. Su Xiao still held some authority over these gates after all, but the next second the head butler walked out. His eyes swept over the crowd before stopping right in front of me. Mr. Nanzhou, Miss Wangking, has invited you inside. Lu Jingshen froze. Su Xiao stood there dumbfounded. I smirked, looking at the guard. So can I go in now? The guard shot a cautious glance at Su Xiao, then opened the gate without hesitation. He knew exactly who actually called the shots here. As I walked in, Su Xiao and her group followed behind. Lu Shuiqin glared at me. Miss Su Wangking probably just wants you to pick up your grandmother. Once you get her, leave immediately. Do not dirty the Su family carpets. With those words, they entered the living room and instantly froze. The old Mrs. Su was sitting grandly on the sofa. The little old lady glared at them. You wicked woman! Who are you calling a scoundrel? She had changed into elegant clothes, though her face was still a bit pale. Su Wangking sat coldly on her left. Liu Shuiqin froze in shock, while Lu Jingshen's knees went weak, nearly sending him straight to the floor. Fortunately, Su Xiao caught him. What is wrong with you? Lu Jingshen's hands were shaking. He forced a bitter smile. Nanzhou, why did you lie to us and say the old matriarch was your wife's grandmother? You made us disrespect her. I immediately felt several suspicious stares locking onto me. Lu Shuiqin also caught on. You knew the old lady had dementia, yet you dared to deceive her. What do you take the Su family for? Kneel and apologize right now. My eyes darkened. So they want to pin all the blame on me. Lu Jingshen was trying to clear his name. What a move. Smack. A teacup was thrown by the little old lady, hitting Liu Shuiqin squarely. Scalding tea splashed all over her, but she did not dare scream. You insolent fools, the old lady roared. He is my grandson-in-law. Enduring the painful burns, Liu Shuiqin whimpered. Old matriarch, you have been deceived by him. I am absolutely sure his wife is just a low-class thug. No need to argue. Why not ask the person involved? Su Xiao's mother chimed in. Wangking, is he really your husband? I silently looked at Su Wangking and heard the expected answer. No. What a spiteful, ungrateful woman. A flash of anger crossed my eyes. Lu Jingshen, however, looked ecstatic, letting out a massive sigh of relief. Liu Shuiqin sneered. I knew it. This was all Nanzhou's doing. I scoffed, about to speak, when Su Wangking's voice rang out again. It was Grandma who mistook him for her grandson-in-law. So I asked Mr. Nanzhou to help look after her. The room fell dead silent. No one expected this. Lu Jingshen lowered his head, so that was it. Nanzhou, why did you not tell us? If you had, this misunderstanding would not have happened. Mr. Lu Jingshen, Su Wangking said, leaning back casually, though her voice carried immense authority. Shifting blame and hiding behind others. Is this how the Lu family raises their youth? Prompted by her words, the old matriarch flared up. Splendid. You think because I have dementia, I cannot see through your tricks. You make a mistake, refuse to repent, and even try to scapegoat others. The two of you are utterly shameless. The old matriarch looked directly at Su Xiao. Call off the engagement. I do not recognize this grandson-in-law. Lu Jingshen froze. The marriage he worked so hard for could not vanish. He looked at Su Xiao only to find her staring blankly at me, clearly still reeling from the shock of learning I was married. Lu Jingshen clenched his fists, lowered his head, and stepped in front of her. Xiao, it is my fault. Even if the marriage is cancelled, I will still fulfill my promise to introduce you. Su Xiao snapped out of it. Lu Jingshen was still going to introduce her to Dr. Nan. In China's current new energy sector, Dr. Nan was a towering figure. She quickly turned to the old matriarch. Great-grandmother Jingshan did not know any better. Please forgive him. Besides, our families have already exchanged betrothal gifts. Calling it off is not easy. The old matriarch gave her a deep look. Do as you wish. Your affairs are up to your parents. She did not want to interfere, but Su Xiao's mother smiled. Grandma, did you forget the greeting gift? Hearing this, she drooped her eyelids. I will have someone transfer 180,000 to Xiao. Her mother froze. But did you not promise them 2% of your shares? You said they might be tight on cash. If you asked who was the wealthiest in the Su family, it was undoubtedly her. She came from a wealthy clan in Jingdu, had an enormous dowry, and controlled 20% of the Su family shares. Su Xiao's mother had planned to squeeze a fortune out of her. Everything was agreed upon, but she changed her mind. The old Mrs. Su looked at her with a half smile. I am not satisfied with this grandson-in-law, so I am not giving it. Lu Jingshan turned deadly pale, feeling utterly humiliated. The Su family had many servants, so this would surely spread. Soon all of Haicheng would know he was rejected by the matriarch. For the wealthy face is everything, and she had just trampled his dignity into the dust. But the little old lady did not care about that. Leaving those words, she dragged me and Su Wangqing to her courtyard. She made an excuse to leave, telling Su Wangqing to take good care of her grandson-in-law, and hurried off. In a flash, only the two of us were left in the courtyard, standing side by side in the night. Just as I was wondering how to break the silence, Su Wangqing suddenly looked at me with disdain. You seem to lack some iron in your soul. Not to be outdone, I stared back. Silly girl. Her face turned pale with fury. She even brought that up, clearly doubting my motives. She probably thought Grandma clinging to me was just an accident, but suspected I took her in only because Grandma let slip her identity. I cut her off, keeping things strictly business. I remember you texted that you'd help me with a favor. So can you come with me to the Civil Affairs Bureau to check our marriage status? Su Wangqing's face darkened, and she snapped impatiently. Fine, let's go. But if it's a lie, stop using Grandma to pester me. Just then, the little old lady poked her head out of the window. You brat, are you bullying my grandson-in-law? Su Wangqing froze instantly. No, she muttered. Dinner was simple 4 dishes and a soup perfect for the 3 of us. But Grandma had no appetite, putting down her chopsticks after a few bites. Grandson-in-law, I'm tired. Let's go home. Don't push yourself. Grandma, tonight you should still rest here. This small courtyard was like a mini nursing home fully equipped with medical devices, yet Grandma nervously grabbed my hand. Then can you stay and keep me company? I frowned and glanced at Su Wangqing. Honestly, I was worried about Grandma too, but this arrogant woman despised me so much. She probably thought I was using Grandma to get close to her, so she would definitely say no, but Su Wangqing fell silent. Fine, she said, giving me a pointed look. Clearly she did it only for Grandma warning me not to get any ideas. After dinner, I took Grandma to her room. She must have been exhausted, and having suffered another episode, she fell into a heavy sleep as soon as she lay down. She slept restlessly, so I had no choice but to sit by her bed. Outside the window, Su Wangqing looked grave. What's going on with Grandma? The family doctor who had studied psychology sighed. Although I don't know why the old lady is so set on this boy, I can guess why she is so anxious and terrified her grandson-in-law will leave. The doctor glanced at Su Wangqing again. The old lady likely feels she won't survive the year. She's afraid that once she's gone, you'll have no anchor left. This grandson-in-law is the only one she can leave behind to stay with you. Su Wangqing froze, raw emotions churning in her dark eyes. It took a long time for her to calm down. Standing in the moonlight, she seemed to merge with the darkness behind her. After a long while, she suddenly turned and strode toward the main house. Meanwhile, Lu Jingshan had a miserable dinner. Having lost 2% of his shares, Su Xiao's mother, Liu Meijin, was furious, tossing sharp barbs at him. Isn't Lu Nanzhou just your family's bastard? If he can suck up to the old lady, why can't you? Lu Jingshan could only lower his head. Auntie, I'm not as sweet-talking as Nanzhou. Liu Meijin sneered. I don't care how you do it. You must get that 2% back, or don't even think about marrying into the Su family. Lu Jingshan swallowed his bitterness. Once dinner was finally over, he stood up to say goodbye. But before he could leave, Su Wangqing returned, bringing an overwhelming coldness with her. Seeing the leftover feast on the table, her face grew even darker. Grandma hadn't eaten a bite tonight, yet here they were, feasting and drinking. Seeing her expression, even the mouthy Liu Meijin didn't dare utter a word. Instead, Su Xiao's father, Su Yuanjie, frowned. Wangqing, what brings you here? Ignoring her nominal brother, Su Wangqing looked straight at Lu Jingshan. Since the engagement isn't called off, he counts as family now, right? And family must follow our rules. Today, He disobeyed his elders. He will kneel outside the ancestral hall all night as punishment. Su Wangking gestured coldly, and 2 bodyguards stepped up to Lu Jingshen. Master Lu, after us. Lu Jingshen looked to Su Xiao for help, but she didn't dare challenge the family head's authority. Taking a deep breath, he had no choice but to follow. Near the door, he heard Su Xiao ask her aunt, "What about Lu Nanzhou? Has he left?" Then came Su Wangking's cold warning. "He is my guest, and he stays here tonight." Lu Jingshen reached the ancestral hall. Miss said, "Since you are not married yet, you cannot enter the ancestral hall. Kneel outside." The ground was hard freezing brick. Lu Jingshen wanted to protest, but the bodyguards stood with hands behind their backs staring him down. The night grew freezing cold. Lu Jingshen shivered violently as the biting chill seeped straight into his kneecaps. He wanted to slack off, but the 2 bodyguards watched him like hawks, silent but terrifying. The next morning, I woke up in a bed with a little pink blanket over me, hardly matching Grandma's room style. I didn't think much of it, got up and washed my face. After washing up, I sat down for breakfast with Grandma and Su Wangking. On the table was a plate of fried sugar cakes. Grandma immediately grabbed one. Su Wangking frowned. "Grandma, those are loaded with oil and sugar. You shouldn't eat them." As she struggled to stop her, I spoke up calmly. Grandma, those cakes aren't good for you." Instantly, the stubborn old lady dropped the treat right into my bowl, smiling cutely. "Grandson-in-law, I'm giving this to you." Su Wangking stared at me, baffled by why Grandma was so obedient to me. I dug into the cake, totally unbothered. Then I looked at Su Wangking. "By the way, bring your ID and household register when we head to the bureau." Grandma asked curiously, "What are you going there for?" "Our marriage certificate is lost, and we need it for the divorce." I wasn't trying to fool Grandma, but I never expected what happened next. Grandma chimed in, "It's not lost." She hurried into her bedroom and quickly brought out 2 red marriage certificates, handing them to us. I stared at the document in my hands, completely stunned. I suddenly realized that when Grandma first called me grandson-in-law, she knew about our marriage all along. Sensing a clue, I immediately asked Grandma, "Why do you have these?" She froze her eyes, growing vacant. I can't remember." "Then how did Miss Sue and I get married?" She shook her head. "I don't know." Feeling anxious, I pressed. Grandma tried to think. "That's enough." Su Wangking snapped, stepping between me and Grandma. She glared at me coldly. "Mr. Lu, so the certificate is real. Are you going to tell me we don't need to go to the bureau now? So this was your scheme all along? You used a fake trip to bait Grandma into bringing out this fake document to make her believe it. If I hadn't seen how Grandma hung on your every word, I might have believed you." I felt a chill of hostility in her voice and found it ridiculous. "Fine, we don't have to go today. Divorce takes more than one trip anyway. For 2 years we've been legally married. There are assets to divide, so we need a divorce agreement first." "No way," Su Wangking said, staring at me. When I shrugged and said, "Suit yourself," she seemed taken aback, suddenly unsure if I was just a great actor or if the certificate was real. She grabbed the certificates and headed out. "I'll wait in the parking lot." I gave Grandma a reassuring smile. As soon as I reached the parking lot, I saw Liu Shuiqin supporting a pale Lu Jingshen. Seeing me walk out, she rushed over aggressively, full of righteous indignation. "You must help your brother Lu Nanzhou. You are a bastard, but the Lu family raised you regardless of your birth. You should repay us." I had heard this brainwashing for 20 years. Now it just felt hilarious. Seeing me ignore her, Liu Shuiqin tried to press her advantage. "Now that you are grown, you finally have a chance to repay us. Doesn't old Mrs. Su listen to you? Go tell her to return that 2% share to your brother." I chuckled. I am just a lowly bastard. Why would old Mrs. Su ever listen to me? Liu Shuiqin froze, wanting to say more, but I strode past her and got straight into Su Wangking's car. We soon arrived at the bureau. Just as we parked, Liu Qiang rushed over, panting. "Boss, the driver said you drove off alone. I panicked and tracked your location. Did something happen?" Su Wangking kept her reply short. "No." "Why did you come here? Is Lu Nanzhou really getting to your head? Don't worry. I promise he won't get near you again. Or I'll stream myself." Eating a keyboard. Sitting in the back seat, I asked lazily, "What's your channel name, Liu Qiang?" Liu Qiang froze. Just like that, the 3 of us walked into the hall. Liu Qiang asked the desk clerk first, "Hello, can someone get married without being present?" "Absolutely not," the clerk replied. Liu Qiang sneered at me. "Hear that? You even forged a certificate I'm calling the police right now for forgery and harassment." But Su Wangking handed the document over. "Could you check if this marriage certificate is authentic?" After looking it up, the clerk replied, "This is genuine." "How is that possible?" "Is there an error?" Liu Qiang shrieked. "What nonsense," the clerk snapped back. "Marriage is serious. Both parties must verify their identity and sign a commitment letter." I chimed in. "Can we see our commitment letters?" Su Wangking nodded. Please pull them up." The clerk sighed and stood up. "You two certainly have great chemistry. All right, let me go look for them." Soon, 2 registration forms were handed to us. I looked at the handwriting. It was definitely mine. Liu Chang leaned in and gasped, "Boss, this is really his signature." Su Wonking fell silent. I turned to the clerk. "Excuse me, can we watch the surveillance footage from the registration day?" "I'm sorry, we only keep footage for 6 months." The clerk assured us the process was flawless. Both parties had to be present. The 3 of us walked out of the bureau. Liu Chang was lost. "Boss, what now?" Su Wongking's eyes darkened while I raised an eyebrow. "Divorce." We said it in unison again. Liu Chang blinked, asking, "Then are we divorcing now?" "What about the terms?" "I will have my lawyer contact my lawyer." Su Wonking and I spoke in unison for the 3rd time. I laughed in amusement. "How about we each have our lawyers draft an agreement first? We can negotiate any issues later." Liu Chang sneered. "A guy like you can afford a lawyer." Su Wonking, however, nodded. Ignoring him, I pulled out my phone. "Miss Su, let's add each other on WeChat for easy contact." Su Wonking gave me a look and opened her QR code. I scanned it and a chat window popped up. The contact name I had saved for her was Silly Granddaughter. Her face instantly went black. I coughed in embarrassment, having forgotten we were already WeChat friends. I just put that randomly back then. I muttered quickly, renaming her to Silly Second Girl. I said goodbye and hailed a cab. In the car, I called Chiyue. "Find me the best divorce lawyer. She cannot take a single penny from me." "Boss, what is going on with your marriage? Did you both get amnesia?" I sighed. "There is one person who definitely knows." Old Mrs. Su, I frowned. "We must speed up the clinical trials for our Alzheimer's drug. Otherwise, we will run out of time." When I got home, the little old lady was waiting at the door with a suitcase. "Grandson-in-law, you're back. I brought so many clothes." I paused, speechless but amused. That day, the top law firm in Haicheng received 2 anonymous requests. The demands were identical. Neither side was to get a single penny. The junior lawyer chuckled. "I have never seen such a heartless couple." The partner grinned. "Hey, we are making double on one contract. Send it over." The clients. Back in her office, Su Wonking received my draft of the agreement. Just as she opened it, Liu Chang walked in. "Boss, the results are in. Lu Nanzhou only found out you were married when he tried to register a few days ago. His records after leaving the Lu family are completely blank. It is highly suspicious." Su Wonking looked pensive. "So, you think he is behind this, but the motive is unclear? Also, that mysterious researcher keeps ducking us? We still can't contact them." Su Wonking stayed silent. She had no idea that the Alzheimer's clinical drug she wanted was actually being developed by me. That evening, Su Wonking met me downstairs and handed over the agreement. No objections to signing. She expected a fight, but I signed without hesitation. Divorce tomorrow. Why the rush? I'm dying of impatience here. I grumbled internally. My company was waiting to go public tomorrow morning at the Bureau Affairs Bureau. Just then, Grandma walked downstairs, her face pale. "You are getting a divorce." She trembled. The next second, her eyes shut and she collapsed. Outside the hospital ward, the doctor warned us gravely. "The old lady cannot take any more shocks. Do not upset her." Su Wonking sat on the bench, her hands trembling uncontrollably. When Grandma finally woke up, she stared at me and rasped, "Grandson-in-law, I dreamed you and that brat were getting a divorce. That is not true." "Is it?" I stayed silent. But beside me, Su Wonking spoke up. "It is not true. We are not divorcing." "Give me the household register and marriage certificate," she said, and Su Wonking complied instantly. The old lady then turned to me. "Grandson-in-law, is she telling the truth?" Remembering the doctor's warning, I paused before nodding. "Yes, it is true." That night, as I sat on the sofa reviewing English research papers, my phone buzzed. It was her. "Let us wait until Grandma stabilizes before divorcing." I replied, "Sure." Since the agreement was signed, we had nothing to do with each other. She texted back any other demands. Just a quick divorce once Grandma is fine. Later, the old lady looked between us and suddenly said, "Brad, I want to arrange a job for my grandson-in-law at the Sioux Group." Su Wonking hesitated, then agreed. The old lady beamed. "Tomorrow you go to work with her." I agreed too. The group's database was massive, perfect for my research. Soon after, Su Wonking left with her assistant Liu Chang. Out in the hallway, Liu Chang complained, "Boss, he is clearly trying to infiltrate the company. Why did you agree? If I do not keep him under my nose, how will he show his true colors?" Su Wonking replied coldly. Back in the ward, the old lady waved me over. "Come here, let me tell you a secret. If she bullies you, fight back. She looks tough, but she is actually terrified of cats." I froze. In my memories, an older girl I knew when I was a kid was also terrified of cats. "So, do you like cats or dogs?" she asked. I suddenly realized that I used to love cats, but because she hated them, I stopped liking them too. The next day I understood why Grandma asked. On the top floor of the Sioux group, a cute little Shiba Inu pup was wagging its tail, circling my feet. Liu Chang looked speechless. Why on earth is your job to take care of this tiny puppy? Even Su Wang-king found it absurd that my actual job was just playing with a dog. Take them to the new Energy R&D Group 1, she ordered. This was her plan all along. That department was crucial to the company's future. Putting me there was a trap. She figured I would eventually slip up and expose my motives. I did not mind. I scooped up the puppy and followed Liu Chang. Does he have a name Grandma wants you to name him? I glanced at Su Wang-king's twitching face. Let us call him Cat. In the elevator to the 38th floor, Liu Chang spoke up. Almost everyone in our R&D department holds a doctorate or at least a master's degree from a top university. You are the very first undergraduate here. Learn from your seniors. It will benefit your future. The boss arranged this herself. Do not feel too grateful, though. It is just a reward for helping Grandma. I winced slightly. Honestly, she did not have to. Also, the boss wants your relationship kept secret to avoid drama when you eventually divorce. I glanced at him. Perfect. I had the exact same concern. Liu Chang stared at me in shock. How dare this guy look down on his boss? My first day on the job was incredibly easy. Nobody gave me any work, which suited me fine. I played with the puppy, and once he fell asleep, I locked the door and headed straight for the archives on the 60th floor. I needed to develop a cure for Alzheimer's. Only then could Grandma remember the past. Only then could I understand how this bizarre marriage had even happened. The library held cutting-edge knowledge, including top-secret research papers unavailable to the public. I felt a surge of excitement. Meanwhile, on the top floor, Su Wang-king received a text from Grandma, who had renamed her contact to Grandma Who Cannot Be Stressed. You must have lunch with my grandson-in-law today. Send me a photo of the two of you eating together intimately. Su Wang-king sighed, buzzing her assistant. Liu Chang ordered 2 lunches. She sent me a text, but when I failed to reply, she decided to head down to the 60th floor herself. She searched through the towering bookshelves and spotted me. I had been so absorbed in my reading that I bumped into someone while backing up. Sorry, I said, turning around. I found myself looking at Su Xiao, who was glaring at me. Lu Nanzhou, did you kiss up to great-grandmother just to get close to my aunt? My expression chilled. None of your business. My aunt has never cared for men. Do not think you can seduce her just with your face. She is not that shallow. Look at you now, dismissed with some pointless job. I sneered. So are you saying that when you chased me for so long, it was just because you were shallow? Her eyes welled with tears. I know you hate me for proposing to Lu Jingshan, but I had no choice. High society marriages are complicated. My family would never accept a commoner, let alone an illegitimate son like you. I would have become the laughingstock of the city. I chuckled. Then I should thank you for sparing me. I tried to walk past, but she blocked my path. I can get you into my department and have the best experts train you. I know how ambitious you are. You are smart. You will learn fast. I cut off her empty promises. What is the catch? Divorce your wife and stay with me. She could not bear the thought of another woman having me. It drove her mad. I replied coldly, You are not worthy. Why do you love that useless wife of yours so much? I could easily pay her off or have someone threaten her until she leaves you. How can she even compare to me? I stared at her coldly. I did not want to hurt your pride, but since you insist, let me tell you, my wife is far prettier than you and her body is way better than yours. I turned to walk away, only to find Su Wang-king standing right at the corner. I fell silent, and so did she. Behind us, Su Xiao's face darkened as she dialed a number. Lu Jingshan, you are meeting that doctorate researcher tomorrow afternoon. Right. Take me with you. Pretending she was just looking for a lunch partner, Su Wang-king took me to the top floor. In her office, she pointed to the table. Eat first. I felt a bit self-conscious. She did not seem to have heard my boast. Just as I relaxed, I heard a phone camera shutter click. She sent the photo to Grandma and walked over. I knew why she did it, so I did not ask. Trying to make small talk, I said, Your lunch is quite lavish. Miss Su, she sat down, picking up her chopsticks. Well, proper nutrition is essential for maintaining a good figure. I froze. My face flushed red. My gaze briefly swept over her pale skin before I hurriedly packed up my food. Miss Su, I just remembered I need to feed Cat. I will head out first. Thanks for lunch. Grinning, I walked out. After work, Su Wang-king called Grandma. Where are you? At the hospital. My chest flared up again, so I am staying a few more days. Are you coming tonight? If not, just let me suffer here all alone. I am on my way. Good. By the way, I already told your husband. He is coming to keep me company, too. Come together with him. Su Wang-king massaged her temples, seeing right through Grandma's matchmaking tricks. She texted me offering a ride after work. I replied instantly, No need. I already hailed a cab. Although she wanted to keep her distance, my eagerness to avoid her somehow annoyed her even more. Carrying the puppy, I walked into the building. Nearby, Mrs. Liu had just finished her medical checkup. Lu Jingshan supported her arm. "Is that Lu Nanzhou?" "Why is he here? Is he sick?" Mrs. Liu murmured. Meanwhile, Lu Jingshan was secretly seething that the old Mrs. Su refused visitors, yet kept Lu Nanzhou by her side. "He must be visiting Mrs. Su Lu Jingshan," muttered, eyes flashing. "How filial of him," our old family nanny sneered. "Filial? He never visits you, madam. Why do you still defend him? That boy's nothing but an ungrateful brat. He has probably forgotten you entirely." Lu Jingshan chimed in. "I heard Miss Su landed him a job at the Su Group, which is why he is kissing up to her grandmother." Nanny Nan scoffed. "You raised him, madam. Raising a child is a debt for life, yet he never repays you." Mrs. Liu cut them off. Lu Jingshan sighed falsely. "You are too kind, Mom, but some people actually repay kindness. Take Dr. Nan. You only sponsored him with a little money, yet he has helped our family so much. 3 years ago, when we almost went bankrupt, he gave us a patent. That technology patent saved our company." Nanny Nan agreed. "Compared to him, Dr. Nan is a saint. I really want to meet Dr. Nan. Mom, take me with you tomorrow, okay?" Mrs. Liu smiled, stroking his head. "All right, I will bring you along." I witnessed this entire exchange. Sitting on the VIP ward sofa, I watched them. My eyes followed Mrs. Liu. Her face was pale and sickly. Lu Jingshan whispered in her ear, and she nodded weakly. They looked so close, a real mother and son. I only pulled my gaze away once their car drove off. When I turned around, Grandma was standing behind me. Grandson-in-law, who was that woman. She looked so familiar. My expression softened. Before I could speak, her eyes lit up. "I remember now. That is your mother. You look exactly like her." I froze. Actually, except for our basic features, we did not look that similar. But we shared the exact same cold, distant aura. Ever since leaving the Liu family, I had unconsciously mirrored her habits and demeanor. I looked at Grandma. She is not my mother. But the old lady was absolutely certain. Yes, she is. How can you deny your own mother? I did not know whether to laugh or cry. Fortunately, Su Wonking arrived with dinner. She had brought a massive spread and 3 servings of fruit. Grandma immediately frowned upon seeing the fruit. "He cannot eat mangoes. My grandson-in-law is allergic to them." My heart skipped a beat and I stared at her. "Grandma, how did you know that I used to be allergic but I was cured 2 years ago?" I had never told her. She giggled. "You told me before. You said eating mangoes makes your face break out in red bumps." I turned serious. "When did I tell you this?" Grandma looked confused again. "I think you told me before you two got married." A storm raged in my mind. I was positive I did not know her before our marriage. I pressed on. "What else do you remember? Like, how did we register our marriage?" She shook her head. She could not remember. I felt Su Wonking staring at me with a cold, suspicious gaze. I knew she thought I was plotting something again. There was no way to prove my innocence. I picked up the puppy. "You two eat. I am going to walk the dog." I retreated to the end of the hallway. Moments later, Su Wonking followed me. "Do you have something to say, Mr. Liu?" I pursed my lips. I assumed you would demand an explanation. "And do you have one?" I answered honestly. I truly do not know what Grandma meant about our past. She could not have just fabricated such private details. I thought she would doubt me, but she simply nodded. "I believe you." I blinked in surprise. She actually believed me? Su Wonking stepped closer, her voice icy. "Mr. Liu, I do not care what your motives are. As long as you keep Grandma happy, I will make sure you are safe." She did not care about the truth. As long as Grandma was happy, she was willing to overlook any schemes. She leaned in threateningly. "But if you ever hurt her, I will make sure you are ruined in this city." I let out a dry laugh. "Have you not already done that, Miss Su?" Before she could reply, Professor Liang called out my name. He walked over, his voice raspy. "Lu Nanzhou, I was just about to call you. Did you find a job? Have you resolved things with Miss Su? She is incredibly petty for taking away your graduate recommendation and trying to ruin you, and threatening to banish you from the city." Su Wonking looked bewildered. I glanced at her with a knowing smirk. "Do not worry, Professor. It was all a misunderstanding. Miss Su is actually very kind. She even gave me a job and promised to protect me from any harm." Su Wonking's face fell. Professor Liang sighed in relief, then glanced at her. "Is this your useless wife?" Su Wonking's expression turned pitch black while my grin widened. "Yes, something like that." Professor Liang turned to her, speaking earnestly. "You are a pretty young lady. You should find an honest job." At the Liu family residence, Lu Yunshan noticed his wife barely touching her food. "What is wrong, dear? Are you feeling unwell?" Lu Jingshan quickly chimed in. "Dad, we ran into Lu Nanzhou at the hospital today. I think Mom is just worried about how he is doing." "Why should she worry about him?" Lu Jingshan sighed. "He must hate me. I am just worried he will badmouth me to old Mrs. Su, causing Miss Su to retaliate." Lu Yuanshan scoffed. He is the one who offended her. It has nothing to do with you. Right then, Lu Yuanshan's phone rang. Assistant Lu Tu, what do I owe the honor? Does Miss Su have instructions? The voice on the line was freezing cold. The boss wants me to ask Lu Jingshan, when did he say he'd make Lu Nanzhou vanish from Haicheng? Why is my boss completely in the dark, Lu Yuanshan? His face stiffened as he stared at Lu Jingshan in disbelief. Liu Qiang left him with one last line. The Lu family really needs to teach their juniors some manners before hanging up. Jingshan hung his head in shame. I saw Lu Nanzhou pestering Miss Su. I only did it because I was afraid he'd ruin things between me and Xiao and our wedding. Dad, I didn't mean to. Jingshan defended himself, pale-faced. Lu Nanzhou is your son, after all. I was afraid you wouldn't have the heart to scold him. Lu Yuanshan changed the subject. How many times must I say it? I only have one son, and that's you. What is Lu Nanzhou compared to you? Can he even compare to you? Madame Lu frowned. Yuanshan Nanzhu is still your son. Lu Yuanshan turned to her. Achu Liu Sheqin schemed against us back then, and I failed you. I will never acknowledge her son. My heart only holds you and our boy. Nearby, standing there in a maid's uniform, Liu Sheqin heard this, her fists clenching in bitter hatred. She stared at Lu Yuanshan with eyes full of sorrow. This was the man she loved, her childhood sweetheart, yet his eyes and heart only held Nan Jinshu. Back then, when she got pregnant and brought her test results to him offering to be his mistress, he had kicked her out without mercy, refusing to betray his wife. Left with no choice, Liu Xueqin begged Nan Jinshu, threatening her own life just to stay in the Lu household. For years, Lu Yuanshan never gave her a kind word and treated Nanzhu like total heir. Luckily, she had switched the two babies. Liu Xueqin bowed her head, hiding the smug satisfaction in her eyes. Lu Yuanshan would never know that Jingshan, the boy he cherished so deeply as his and Nan Jinshu's son, was actually her own. As for Nanzhou, he deserved to be neglected and beaten down. Madame Lu, however, shook her head stubbornly. Yuanshan wrong is wrong. We must apologize to Lu Nanzhu. Lu Yuanshan scoffed. Apologize, my son. Apologizing to Liu Xueqin's son, Liu Xueqin quickly interjected. No, please, there is no need. Raising him was a massive favor. Scolding him is only natural. Madame Lu sighed softly and dropped the argument. Later, as Jingshan escorted her back to her room, Madame Lu spoke again. If you are free tomorrow, I'll take you to apologize to Lu Nanzhu in person. Jingshan's face stiffened. Didn't you want to take Su Xiao to meet Dr. Nan? Let's do it tomorrow. Jingshan's eyes lit up and he hugged her arm. Sure, Mom. You're always the best to me. Once he left, Madame Lu turned to her old maid. Nanma, with my poor health, I really failed to raise Jingshan properly. You are overthinking, Madame. Master Jingshan is filial. Minor flaws can be corrected. Madame Lu smiled bitterly. Lu Nanzhou, on the other hand, never lied. She began to cough violently, leaning on Nanma as she walked to the bed. That heavy secret was still suffocating her. The next day I woke up feeling incredibly nervous. It had been 10 years since I last saw Madame Lu. Would she be happy to see me or furious? At noon I headed home to change. The old matriarch had Su Wangking drive her back. Just as they left the ward and headed downstairs, Liu Qiang walked up. Boss Su Wangking nodded to him. Liu Qiang handed me a slip of paper. Young Master Lu, take a look at this. It lists famous new energy professors from top national universities. I looked at him completely puzzled. These scholars are far more prestigious than Professor Liang. You can pick any of them to continue your studies. It is the boss's compensation for your canceled recommendation. Honestly, meeting our boss is a blessing in disguise. My mouth twitched. No, thank you. Do you want to study under Dr. Nan instead? Liu Qiang frowned. That is tricky. Dr. Nan is highly sought after right now. Young Master Lu, a genius professor like that, only takes on genius students. You probably won't catch his eye. Don't aim too high. Just apply for his PhD program after you finish your master's. I stared at him like he was an idiot, then turned directly to Su Wangking. Miss Su, no need to see me off. I'll take a cab. Su Wangking watched me walk away, then suddenly turned to Liu Qiang. Help him get in touch with Dr. Nan. What Liu Qiang was dumbfounded. Meanwhile, outside the private restaurant, Madame Lu Jingshan and Su Xiao arrived early. Xiao pushed open the private room door. A tall man's straight back met her eyes as he poured tea. Hello, Dr. Nan. I am Su Xiao from the Su Group. Nice to meet you. I turned around, amusement flashing in my eyes as her face fell. Lu Nanzhu. Why are you here, I should ask you that. I replied lazily. Su Xiao's face darkened. Don't worry, I'm not here for you. Where is Dr. Nan? I said nothing. Madame Lu walked in with Jingshan. Seeing me, her eyes welled with tears. Are you Lu Nanzhou? Something stirred deep in my chest. Madam, have you been well? I am doing well. And what about you, Nanzhou? Your father said you got married. Madame Lu held my hand, tightly sighing softly. A cold gleam flashed in Jingshin's eyes. Nanjo, we should have invited you to dine. But since you're working, it might be awkward. We'll leave you a big tip later to help you out. With your expenses. Watch your tongue. Madame Lu scolded him, quickly turning to me. Nanjo, we are meeting Dr. Nan today. Since you work in new energy, you should join us. It'll help your future. Fearing I might steal his opportunity, Jingshin picked up a cup of scalding tea and approached me. Nanjo, Mom wanted me to apologize. Let me toast you with this tea. With that, his fingers slipped and the hot liquid flew toward me. I dodged and bumped him, sending the scalding tea splashing right back onto him. He shrieked in pain. Lu Nanju, I know you hate me, but how could you do this? He cried, playing the victim. I looked down, feigning innocence. Sorry, I didn't see. Su Xiao snapped. Lu Nanju, is this how you wait tables? You heard a guest. Get your manager here right now. I'm complaining. Madame Lu stepped in to shield me. Enough. We are family. Mom Xiao is angry. Let Nanju leave first to avoid another scene, Jingshin urged, holding her back. Madame Lu looked at me with deep guilt. Nanjo, come home when you can. Next time I will introduce you to Dr. Nan. Jingshin quickly cut in to change the subject. Mom, why isn't Dr. Nan here yet? I gave a faint mocking smile. No need. He is already here. The three of them stared at me. Just as Madame Lu was about to ask, she coughed violently and collapsed onto the table. Madam, I rushed to catch her, but Jingshin shoved me away. Get lost. What did you do to my mom? Mom, wake up. The ambulance arrived. I tried to get in, but Su Xiao grabbed me. Stay away from Madame Lu, you bastard. If you make her worse, I'll make you pay. I took a cab straight to the hospital. The hallway was packed without a single bed. Su Wangking spotted this from upstairs and told Lu Qiang arrange a ward for young Master Lu. The front desk received the call and quickly called out, a VIP room just opened up. Jingshin was thrilled. Xiao, you're amazing. Su Xiao smugly took the credit. As they all moved into the ward, I tried to follow, but Jingshin blocked me at the door. Lu Nanzhou, my mom needs quiet. Don't disturb her. The door slammed shut in my face. I stood there anxious and worried sick, but had no right to enter. I sat on a bench. Soon urgent footsteps echoed down the hall. Lu Yunshan rushed into the ward, frantic with worry. Only after ensuring Madame Lu was fine did he pull Jingshin out. He frowned and demanded, what happened? How did she suddenly faint? Jingshin pointed right at me as I sat nearby. It's Lu Nanzhou. He insisted on meeting Dr. Nan and argued with Xiao, which made Mom collapse. Lu Yunshan glared at me, furious. You piece of trash. Without another word, he swung his arm to strike me. I didn't even dodge. My mind was filled with Madame Lu's pale face. Maybe Jingshin was right. My very existence was her misfortune. The expected pain never came. I opened my eyes and saw a tall, elegant figure shielding me. Su Wangking stood there, like a protective shield blocking out the storm. Lu Yuanshan stammered in panic. Miss Su, what is this, Mr. Lu? I shouldn't interfere with your parenting, but grandmother really likes him. If she sees injuries on young Master Lu's face, she will be heartbroken. Su Wangking's smooth voice echoed. Lu Yuanshan quickly muttered, It was my oversight. Inside the ward, Madame Lu started coughing. Lu Yuanshan and Jingshin rushed inside. I stood at the doorway, hesitating, listening to her weak voice. I'm fine, don't worry. I haven't slept well in so long. Fainting just now actually let me rest. Only then did my tense heart ease. Su Wangking asked, Aren't you going in? Not yet. Otherwise it will just start another war of words and disturb her rest. I sighed softly. Just as I turned, the old matriarch walked over. Supported by her housekeeper, I heard my grandson-in-law's mother is hospitalized, so I came to visit. I supported her arm. Grandmother, Madame Lu, isn't my mother. Did I get it wrong? The old lady pulled out her phone and showed me a photo. Grandson-in-law, you sent this to me saying it was you and your mother. Is the person in the ward not this woman? I froze instantly. In the photo, Madame Lu and I were sitting by the sea, smiling like mother and son, but I hadn't seen her since leaving the family. How could we have a photo? I zoomed in on the image and spotted a clue. It was a poorly photoshopped composite. When did I send this to you? The old lady shook her head. I don't remember. How did I send it, email or text? She shook her head again. I felt helpless, but her attitude was stubborn. Grandson-in-law, she is your mother. You can't just ignore her after sending the old lady off. Su Wangking stood in the hallway. Liu Qiang quickly approached to report. Boss, I've checked. Young Master Lu was working part-time at that restaurant when he ran into the Lu family. Su Wangking's voice was clear. Does the Su group pay him so little? Why is he working part-time? It's actually a lot. The old matriarch arranged it, but maybe his manager gave him too hard a task and he feared being fired. Su Wangking felt it wasn't that simple. What were the Lus doing at that restaurant anyway? They had an appointment with Dr. Nan. Miss Su Xiao went there for that exact reason. And what about Dr. Nan? He never showed up. A faint light flickered in Su Wangqing's deep eyes as a crazy, mind-boggling idea began to form. Inside the ward, Madame Lu felt much better after resting. Jingshan awkwardly suggested Xiao head home first since she was only staying to wait for Dr. Nan. Realizing this, Madame Lu handed him the phone. We missed the meeting, so we should explain things to Dr. Nan. Once they rescheduled, Jingshan walked Xiao out. In the hallway, Jingshan, Sister Xiao, don't worry. There won't be any issue with Dr. Nan. Right now, the Su Group's R&D department has some stubborn obstacles. Only by getting Dr. Nan can I secure my position and prove my worth. He is crucial to me. You must help me persuade him. As the two of them stepped into the elevator, I walked out of the corner and pushed open the ward door. Lu Yuanshan's face darkened instantly. What are you doing here again? Get out. Is that Nanju? Let him in. Madame Lu's gentle voice called. Lu Yuanshan warned me not to upset her again. I already told you today wasn't because of Nanju. I just hadn't slept well and was exhausted. Madame Lu said, gently taking my hand. Good child, you must have been terrified today. Her palm was incredibly warm. I smiled. No, I'm fine. You should visit home more, and your wife, your mother, claims she's a thug, but I don't believe that. Nanju has always had excellent taste and a strong mind. Anyone you choose must have great qualities. Bring her to see me sometime. My throat tightened with emotion. All right. She began to cough violently. I pulled out a plastic bottle. This is a cough medicine I bought. If you can't sleep at night, take one. Madame Lu nodded. I stepped out of the room only to hear Lu Wenshan's dismissive voice inside. How can you be won over by a cheap bottle of medicine from some random back alley clinic? He casually tossed it into the trash. I heard Dr. Nan's cough remedy is in clinical trials. I'll use my connections to get it for you. Late that night, Madame Lu was awakened by another coughing fit, so severe she felt completely hopeless. Driven by a sudden impulse, she fished the discarded bottle from the trash and took a pill. A soothing coolness instantly wrapped her throat. She fell fast asleep. The next morning at 10, Lu Yuanshan woke Mrs. Lu up. She had actually slept through the night until dawn. My lady, the sleeping pills the doctor gave you yesterday really worked. You slept for a whole 10 hours. Nanny Ma's eyes turned red with excitement. What sleeping pills? Mrs. Lu was confused. Nanny Ma looked at Lu Jingshan. It was Miss Su Xiao who got them for you. She specifically found strong sleeping pills and mixed them into your regular medicine. Who knew they'd actually work? Mrs. Lu paused. She felt her throat was much clearer. Her gaze fell on the unlabeled plastic bottle by her pillow. Lu Yuanshan was full of praise for his future daughter-in-law. This daughter-in-law is really great. I heard the inpatient department is completely full lately. Xiao pulled a lot of strings to get this VIP room. We owe it all to her this time. Lu Jingshan seized the opportunity. Mom, Sister Xiao is so devoted to you. Why don't you help her out too? The family wants her to run the R&D department, but those researchers refuse to back down. If we can get Dr. Nan to act as an external technical consultant, Sister Xiao can secure her position. Mrs. Lu hesitated for a moment. All right, I'll ask Dr. Nan. But if he refuses, let's drop it. Lu Jingshan smiled broadly. In his mind, as long as Mrs. Lu asked, Dr. Nan would never refuse. Mrs. Lu took out her phone, found Dr. Nan's profile, carefully drafted a message, and sent it. Xiao Nan, are you free? I need a favor. When I received the text, I had just walked the old lady back upstairs. I frowned, wondering what Mrs. Lu could possibly want from me. Could there be an issue with yesterday's medicine? It was still in clinical trials, but seeing how sick she was, I brought it out early. Feeling anxious, I had the caregiver take the old lady back to her room while I rushed over to Mrs. Lu's. I arrived at the ward quickly, only to find Su Xiao and Liu Shuqin inside. Their laughter stopped abruptly the moment I walked in. Feeling like an intruder and seeing Mrs. Lu was fine, I lowered my head to leave. But Liu Shuqin spoke up. Well, if it isn't young Master Lu, now that you've climbed high with old Madame Su, I guess the rest of us aren't good enough for you. I turned to leave, but she grabbed me. I heard you're doing everything to please old Madame Su, even cleaning up after her all night. You think she'll treat you like a real grandson? Stop dreaming. You're just a toy to them. Lu Jingshan quickly chimed in. Don't say that, Auntie. Old Madame Su thinks highly of Lu Nanzhou. Liu Shuiqin raised her voice. What kind of appreciation is that? Now Miss Xiao's dedication to you, Jingshan, that's real respect. Look at how he tries to suck up to them. Su Xiao heard that there were absolutely no wards available yesterday. Even wealthy families had to queue up. It was all Miss Xiao's help that got Madame into this VIP room. Su Xiao looked at me and gave a humble smile. My aunt probably didn't know about this, otherwise she would have helped. I just did what little I could, Liu Shuiqin mocked me again. Even if Miss Su knew she wouldn't care about you. No matter how much you try to please them, they just view you as a stray cat or dog to play with. I clenched my fists, unwilling to argue in the ward. Outside, Su Wangqing, who had just arrived, overheard everything, her face freezing over. Liu Qiang immediately got his boss's hint. He cleared his throat and walked in. Mrs. Liu, on behalf of CEO Su, I'm here to visit. Are you comfortable in this ward? The room fell dead silent. Everyone turned to Su Xiao, who looked completely bewildered. Liu Shuiqin was stunned, then smiled fawnishly. Miss Xiao, so you asked Miss Su to arrange this ward. Su Xiao's face stiffened. Liu Qiang, however, smiled. Actually, Mr. Liu asked our boss to arrange this. Miss Xiao, did you ask her to? Su Xiao was so embarrassed she wished the floor would swallow her up. I made a lot of calls and reached out to several people. I guess I must have misunderstood. Lu Jingshen clenched his fist tightly, burning with humiliation. Mrs. Liu broke the bizarre atmosphere. Thank you, Miss Su. I am very comfortable here. Once I'm feeling better, I will visit the old madam. Liu Qiang replied. As long as you are comfortable and Mr. Liu doesn't worry, our old madam will be happy. This was clearly elevating my status. Everyone in the room felt their hearts sink, but Mrs. Liu was genuinely happy. I glanced at Liu Shuiqin with a mocking look. Furious, Liu Shuiqin hissed, You little brat, what are you so smug about? Shut up. Liu Zhenshan snapped angrily. My wife is sick and needs to rest. Stop barking here and get the hell home. Liu Shuiqin glared at me with hatred, covered her face, and then ran off. I turned back to the bed. Madam, how did you sleep last night? Mrs. Liu subconsciously gripped the small, unlabeled medicine bottle hidden under her blanket. I slept wonderfully. I haven't slept this well in a long time. That's good to hear. I'll take my leave then. Liu Qiang and I stepped out. Su Wangqing was leaning against the corridor wall, looking at her phone, her cool profile bathed in light. Seeing me, she spoke. Grandmother was worried, so she insisted I come check on you personally. Although her voice was distant, warmth flooded my heart. Thank you. Just then the ward door opened, and Su Xiao and Lu Jingshen walked out. Seeing Su Wangqing and me standing together, Lu Jingshen looked as if he was facing a great enemy. Su Xiao blurted out, Aunt, why are you here? Su Wangqing gave her a cold look. I don't believe I need to report my whereabouts to you. Her intense presence made Su Xiao's palms sweat. She glared at me with jealousy. Young Master Liu, you've been at the hospital taking care of great-grandmother all this time. Doesn't your wife mind confused? I glanced at Su Wangqing. With a knowing half-smile, I replied, She probably doesn't mind. Su Xiao's face paled. Su Wangqing suddenly said, Are you heading back to the ward? Grandmother's waiting for you. The word back made me dazed for a second. I smiled softly. Let's go back. We turned and walked away, leaving behind a dark-faced Su Xiao. She returned to Mrs. Liu's ward. While tidying the bed, she gasped, Why is there a bottle of medicine on the bed? Lu Yuanshan frowned. Isn't that the sketchy medicine Lu Nanzhou gave you? Achu, why did you bring it back? I took one last night, and it actually seemed to work, Mrs. Liu explained. No way. It was obviously the sleeping pills working. Lu Yuanshan snatched the medicine away. Who knows where he bought this stuff? What if it ruins your health? Don't throw it away. I won't take the sleeping pills tonight just to see which one actually works. Late that night, Mrs. Liu started coughing violently again. Nanny Ma rushed over with the highly praised sleeping pills, but they were completely useless. Mrs. Liu coughed until her face turned red. Nanny Ma rushed out and grabbed my medicine. Just as she was about to administer it, Lu Jingshen grabbed her hand. Mom, what if her coughing got worse because of this very medicine? We shouldn't feed her sketchy stuff like this. Lu Yuanshan roared in anger. That Lu Nanzhou, you've always treated him so well, yet he tries to poison you with this crap. Mrs. Liu was coughing too hard to speak, her eyes fixed on Nanny Ma, ever loyal. Nanny Ma ignored the pressure and popped the pill into Mrs. Liu's mouth. The coughing stopped instantly. Exhaling in relief, Mrs. Liu was certain Lu Nanzhou's medicine worked. Later they walked into the outer room. Lu Jingshen's face was pale. Dad, Lu Nanzhou actually got his hands on real miracle medicine. How is that possible? He must have asked Miss Su to buy it for him. Lu Yuanshan frowned deeply. It seems old Madame Su truly values him highly. Meanwhile, in the VIP ward, Su Wangqing was keeping her grandmother company. They were chatting. What did we have for lunch today? The old lady thought for a long time. Was it white porridge? No, it was noodles, right, you silly girl. Su Wangqing smiled and nodded, but her heart sank. We actually had rice. Grandmother had forgotten again. Her memory was deteriorating rapidly. I spoke up in a relaxed voice. Grandmother, what color were Miss Sue's earrings yesterday? The old lady blurted out instantly. Purple. My silly girl's always so stylish. She even wore diamond cufflinks. And the day before blue, I bought those blue earrings for her myself. I let out a gentle smile, looking at Su Wang-king with a warm gaze. Grandmother remembered everything she truly cared about. Su Wang-king looked at me. I was curled up in a beanbag chair, playing with my phone in a relaxed posture. She realized my words were meant to comfort her, and her anxious heart gradually settled. Suddenly, the old lady burst into a smile. Grandson-in-law, was I right? I nodded. Yes, silly girl. See that? Your husband actually remembers exactly what you wear every single day. He definitely has you in his heart. I froze. I just have a photographic memory. I wasn't paying special attention. Before I could explain, I saw Su Wang-king staring at her laptop, ignoring us. But I failed to notice that the tips of her ears were blushing. I continued studying the medical data on my phone. The final stages of my Alzheimer's research were still stuck. I decided to head out for a walk. I had just taken the dog downstairs when someone tapped my shoulder. I turned and saw Liu Xueqin's gambling addict brother, my uncle Liu Yaoguang. My dear nephew, long time no see. I took a step back. What do you want? Well, I heard you've managed to latch onto the wealthy Su family. Your uncle's a bit tight on cash lately. Can you spare some? I sneered. No. You take such good care of that old woman, and she didn't give you a dime. I narrowed my eyes. Not yet, but maybe I'll get some later. Liu Yaoguang smiled slyly. Then you must lend your uncle some when the time comes. If you give me enough, I'll let you in on a big secret. He chuckled and walked away. I sneered. Just then my phone rang. I picked it up and saw it was actually from Mrs. Liu. Meanwhile, over in the other ward, Liu Jingshen was getting anxious since Dr. Nan hadn't replied and Su Xiao was rushing him. He swiped Mrs. Liu's phone while she slept, found Xiao Nan in her contacts and dialed. When the call went through, I answered in a calm voice. Hello, Mrs. Liu. Is something wrong? Liu Jingshen froze instantly. Liu Nanzhou. He widened his eyes in sheer disbelief. He would never mistake this voice. My heart sank and my voice grew even colder. Liu Jingshen, why are you holding Mrs. Liu's phone? Wait, this is your number. He sputtered, completely thrown off. What are you talking about? Liu Jingshen suddenly put two and two together. Liu Nanzhou's name also had the character Nan, and Mrs. Liu occasionally called him Xiaonan. He breathed a huge sigh of relief, which quickly turned into rage. You kiss-ass, you actually put my mother's surname in your name to flatter her. Do you even deserve to be called Xiaonan? My name was indeed derived from Mrs. Liu's surname, Nan. Is that the only reason you called? I asked. Calmly. Of course not. Liu Jingshen sneered maliciously, dropping his act. I just wanted to remind you, even if you used old Madame Su to cling to Miss Su, you're nothing but a toy to her. Miss Su already has a husband. But I'm different. I'm going to marry Sister Xiao and become a legitimate son-in-law of the Su family. Then congratulations. In wealthy families, feelings aren't enough. With a powerhouse like Dr. Nan on my side, I'll always be undefeated. I hung up, twitching my lips. Since when did I become Liu Jingshen's weapon? Right after that, Mrs. Liu's contact for Dr. Nan started ringing. It was Liu Jingshen again. I turned on my voice changer and answered. Liu Jingshen spoke in an incredibly respectful tone. Hello, Dr. Nan. Sorry to bother you. I am Nan Jinchu's son, Liu Jingshen. The Su Group would like to invite you to join their R&D team. My mother shares this hope. Would you be interested? I coldly interrupted. I am only responsible for companies under Mrs. Liu's name. I hung up instantly. Monday arrived, and it was time for me to return to work at the Su Group. I was about to hail a cab outside the hospital when a Bentley pulled up right beside me. Su Wang-king kept her eyes on the road. Get in. Grandmother asked me to drive you to work. She glanced at me. I need to take a picture. I got into the back seat. She raised her phone to take a selfie of us. I flashed a peace sign with a bright smile, catching her off guard for a moment. Once at the company, I went straight to the library on the 60th floor. Meanwhile, the R&D department was announcing personnel changes. Su Xiao was promoted to Deputy General Manager for allegedly securing Dr. Nan. Up in the penthouse office, Liu Qiang reported my movements. His only goal in joining the Su Group seems to be researching archives. He spent the whole morning in the library and hasn't had lunch. Su Wang-king's eyes flickered. She headed downstairs alone to find me. By the neurology bookshelf, I was standing on a ladder, reaching for a book on the top shelf. Ecstatic once my fingers brushed it, I misstepped and tumbled down, landing squarely on top of Su Wang-king. Realizing who it was, I scrambled up. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to. Su Wang-king took a moment to catch her breath before standing up, pretending to be unfazed. It's fine. With the atmosphere incredibly awkward, I made up a quick excuse and slipped away. Before leaving, I hid that crucial book in an obscure corner. When I returned to the library that afternoon, it was gone. Confused, I realized there was only one person in the company who could easily take a book like that. Up in the penthouse, Su Wangking was flipping through the complex neurology book, her brow furrowed. Beside her, Liu Chang muttered, "Boss Lu Nanzhou really doesn't know how good he has it. He isn't even here to work. I know." "He never was," Su Wangking replied calmly. Liu Chang asked, "Should I return this book?" Su Wangking tapped her fingers gently on the cover. Recalling my hopeful, sparkling eyes from earlier, she felt an inexplicable warmth rising in her chest. No need for now. At closing time, the Bentley sat waiting in the underground garage. Liu Chang asked, "Are we leaving, boss?" "No rush." Su Wangking held the thick reference book in her hands. She only looked up and said, "Let's go," once I got into the car. Liu Chang was slightly dazed. His boss hadn't actually invited young Master Liu to ride home with her. Back at the hospital's VIP ward, we could hear Liu Shuiqin's sycophantic voice. "Old Madame, I came specifically to see you," she said. "We really have a special bond." But old Mrs. Su blocked the door, glaring. "Get lost or I'll have you thrown out," Liu Shuiqin fake smiled desperately. "I'm Lu Nanzhou's mother." "Old Mrs. Su, you adore him, don't you? For his sake, please, you shouldn't treat me like this." "You're not his mother," the old lady declared. "Mrs. Lu is." Liu Shuiqin froze, breaking into a cold sweat. How do you know?" she stammered. She was terrified. The baby swap was a secret only she and her brother knew. How could the old lady be so sure? Seeing Su Wangkin and me approach, Liu Shuiqin quickly put on a guilty act. She rushed over, holding out a thermos. "Nanzhou Mom brought you chicken soup. You've been working so hard here." I felt nothing but disgust. "What do you want?" I asked coldly. "Still Jinshin's 2% shares. The old lady adores you. If you ask, she'll help your brother. Otherwise, he can't even face Su Xiao." My eyes turned ice cold. "No." Her face froze. Suddenly she plopped onto the floor, wailing, "Fine, I suffered to raise you, and the moment you climb high, you throw me away. Look at this ungrateful wolf. He's ashamed of his own mother's background. He just wants to be their grandson." The hospital staff began whispering and pointing. I stared down at her, feeling a familiar heavy exhaustion. Let her make a scene. "Keep screaming," I said. "Once you disturb the patients, security will throw you out." I walked straight past her. Furious, she shrieked, "Ungrateful wretch," and threw the hot chicken soup right at me. "Watch out." A pair of slender hands yanked me into a firm embrace. Su Wangkin blocked me, taking the scalding soup on her back. My eyes widened in shock. "Are you okay?" I gasped. "I'm fine," she murmured, frowning as Liu Shuiqin fled. Inside the ward, the old lady frantically pulled at her shirt. "Take it off. Let me see the burn. Is it blistering? Does it hurt?" "Grandson-in-law, quick. Put the medicine on her." She shoved the ointment into my hands and chased everyone else out. "I'm leaving her to you, with only the two of us left." Wonkin sighed. "Grandmother is being dramatic. I'll get a nurse." "Let me do it," I murmured, stepping behind her. As twilight hit her bare back, I gently applied the cool cream. She didn't make a sound. Once finished, she pulled her hair back up. "Thank you, Master Liu. Don't mention it," I said. "But you didn't have to shield me. Grandmother would be devastated if you got hurt." Wonkin locked eyes with me. "Have you forgotten you're my husband now?" My heart skipped a beat. "I'm going out for a bit," I stammered. "To do what, revenge?" I went looking for Liu Shuiqin, but spotted Liu Jinshen and my uncle Liu Yaoguang whispering in the stairwell. Yaoguang rubbed his hands. "My dear nephew, I'm a bit short on cash," Jinshen hissed. "I already gave you this month's allowance." "I can't survive like this," Yaoguang sneered. "Give it to me, or I'll tell him the truth. He'll pay a fortune for it." I pushed the door open, my voice like ice. "What truth?" Jinshin jumped. "Lu Nanzhu. Were you eavesdropping?" I ignored him and looked at Yaoguang. "What truth I can pay you." How much? Yaoguang's eyes lit up. In a panic, Jinshin barked, "I'll get you your money. Just get out of here, before leaving." Yaoguang leaned in and whispered, "My dear nephew, this secret is always yours for the right price." I immediately texted Jiyue, telling her to dig into Yaoguang's background. I turned to see Jinshin slipping away. "Nothing stays hidden forever," I said calmly. "Did you really think I wouldn't uncover your connection with Yaoguang?" He froze instantly. "What are you talking about? I don't understand." I smirked. "How big is the leverage he has on you that makes you pay him monthly?" "You're talking nonsense," Jinshin snapped. "If I were you, I'd worry about my own future instead of wasting time on me." "Where is Liu Shuiqin?" I demanded. "She's your mother. How should I know?" He bolted. I immediately dialed Liu Shuiqin's number. "You need to come back and apologize to Miss Su." "No way Miss Su will destroy me," she shrieked. "You apologize for me? You're my son, it's your duty. Then don't blame me for calling the police," I warned. "You'd arrest your own mother. I wanted to hit you anyway. A mother punishing her child is natural." I hung up on her immediately. She was detained for 48 hours for the assault. Back in the ward, Wang Qin was working downstairs in her RV. I sat by the old lady's bedside. "I'm sorry," I murmured. She waved her hand. "Nonsense, grandson-in-law, we're family. Besides, seeing my granddaughter protect you makes me incredibly happy." The word family warmed my heart. Meanwhile, Jinshin scraped together 50,000 yen and handed it to Yao Guang, warning, "Keep your mouth shut or we both go down." Terrified, his only goal now was marrying Su Xiao quickly. As long as he secured that marriage, he'd have a backup plan, even if exposed. At 9 p.m., Su Xiao paid Jinshin a sudden visit. "Xiao, what brings you here?" he asked, thrilled. She cut straight to the point. "Are you absolutely sure you reached Dr. Nan?" Jinshin's eyes flickered. "Of course." "Good. Then arrange a meeting for us." Jinshin nervously toyed with his fingers. "Dr. Nan is currently abroad. I'll set it up once he returns. Is there a problem you need solved? I can forward it." Xiao eyed him with deep suspicion. "I emailed you the technical issues. Send them to Dr. Nan and get his solutions." "Sure, I'll send it right over," he promised. Knowing Mrs. Liu's email password by heart, Jinshin had noticed that Dr. Nan always replied to her instantly without question. That gave him the confidence to lie. He quickly forwarded the email. He usually replies right away. Just wait. Inside my VIP room, my phone buzzed. I glanced down at an email from Mrs. Liu Xiaonan. "Can you look at this problem?" The attachment was indeed the Su Group's technical issue. I scoffed. Jinshin actually had the nerve to use Mrs. Liu's name to ask for my help. I typed a cold reply. "I only work for the Liu family. The Su Group is not my concern." Across town, Jinshin's phone chimed. He opened it with a smug grin, which instantly froze on his face. Xiao frowned, noticing his expression. "What is it?" Jinshin forced a smile. "Dr. Nan says it'll take a few days." He lied smoothly. Xiao exhaled in relief. "Makes sense, it's a tough issue. I made a bet with Lu Nanzhou's team that we'd have the solution by Friday. We're still on track, right?" "Absolutely." Jinshin promised, his eyes darting nervously. When Xiao got home, her father actually smiled at her. "Brilliant, securing Dr. Nan means you'll dominate the R&D department in no time." Her mother wept tears of joy. Xiao clenched her fists. Having chosen this tactical marriage, she would never look back. She would get what she wanted, including me. Meanwhile, I sneezed and kept working. Realizing my cup was empty, I looked up as Wang Qin quietly set a glass of water on my desk. "Thanks," I murmured, surprised. "Just passing by," she replied naturally, returning to her seat. Watching us, the old lady beamed, already flipping through a dictionary to name her future great-grandchild. The next day, Xiao cornered me at the office. "There's an exclusive green energy summit tonight. Only top players are invited, and Dr. Nan might attend." I kept walking, and I asked without stopping, "I have a spare invitation. I can introduce you to some major contacts. No thanks." I walked straight into my office. My team lead, Ying Xiao, scoffed behind me. "A single invitation to buy him Nanju isn't that easily impressed." Xiao's face darkened. "I can offer him far better resources. You think anyone can just walk into a summit like that? I'm his only way in." At clockout, Ying Xiao called out, "We have a task tonight. Follow me." I texted Wang Qin about working late and hopped in. At the gala doors, the bouncer stopped Ying Xiao. "Apologies, Ms. Liu. The Su Group submitted their guest list, and your name isn't on it." Xiao strolled out, champagne in hand. "Ah, Team Leader Liu. Given your heavy workload in Group B, I figured you'd be too busy to attend. So I took the liberty of declining for you. It's too late to change it now. You should probably head home." Ying Xiao boiled with anger. "You've gone too far. How dare you make that call?" "As R&D VP, I make the decisions." Xiao turned to me smugly. "See the reality now? Without my say-so, you can't even cross this threshold." I looked up calmly. "Oh, really?" I pulled up the VIP digital pass Jiyue had emailed me and showed the bouncer. "Are we good?" He glanced at it instantly, bowing. "Right this way, sir." Xiao's face went pale, staring at my screen. "How did you get an exclusive top-tier invitation?" she demanded. "None of your business," I replied, locking my phone. I turned to Ying Xiao. "Shall we?" Thrilled, she led me inside, introducing me to various industry giants. But soon Jinshin and Xiao strutted over to crash our conversation. The industry veterans immediately swarmed Jinshin. "Young Master Liu, when will Dr. Nan make an appearance? We'd love his guidance." Jinshin smirked, soaking in the attention. "Oh, I'm just accompanying my fiancé tonight." Xiao eagerly climbed beside him, while Ying Xiao got pushed to the sidelines. She nudged me. "When Jiyu arrives, swallow your pride and go offer a toast. Everyone wants a piece of her time." I held back a smirk. "Actually, I can introduce you to her." She laughed, thinking I was bluffing. Suddenly, the crowd buzzed. Jiyui had arrived. Naturally, Jinshin strutted over. Adjusting his lapels, Jinshin smirked. "Nanju, need me to introduce you to President Ji?" Xiao sneered. "You think Jiyue is easily swayed by a pretty face? Endless good-looking men have tried and failed. Don't flatter yourself. With that, they turned to intercept GU. President G about Jinshin started, but she bypassed them like a gust of wind. Under the stunned gaze of the crowd, she rushed straight to me, eyes beaming. Sir, I had no idea you were coming. The entire room fell into a dead silence. Jinshin's hand froze mid-reach. His smug smile instantly hardened into a mask of pure terror. Xiao stood frozen, her champagne glass nearly slipping from her fingers. Jinshin swallowed hard. President Ji, you must have the wrong person. He's just Lu Nanzhou, a useless nobody. Jiu ignored him completely, her focus entirely on me. She looked at me eagerly. Boss, I sent dozens of emails begging you to attend, and you said you were busy. I didn't know you'd show up. Incognito. I smiled wryly, just tag-teaming with my manager for some errands. Boss Xiao shrieked, her voice cracking. You call him boss. Isn't he just a freeloader, living off his wife GUA? Whipped her head around her glare, slicing like a knife. Miss Sue, mind your tongue. The man before you is the technical genius your company has been desperately chasing, the legendary Dr. Nan. A wave of shocked gasps swept the room. Impossible, Jinshin lost his mind, pointing a trembling finger at me. Dr. Nan communicates with my mother. He can't be this bastard. What did you pay GU to stage this stunt? I stepped forward, looking down at him. Jinshin, you stole your mother's phone to send those emails. Did you really think I wouldn't know? Didn't you just get my reply saying I only work for the Liu family? Jinshin's face went paper white. His knees buckled and he collapsed. Xiao stumbled back, staring at me in utter disbelief and agonizing regret. She had always thought I was drowning in the mud, even trying to humiliate me with petty cash. Yet here I stood, a giant she had to look up to. Suddenly a commotion erupted at the entrance. Supported by Nanny Nan, Mrs. Liu walked in, looking healthy and steady. She marched straight toward me. Tears filled her eyes as she approached. The medicine you formulated it yourself, didn't you? I nodded. Are you feeling better? Incredible, she breathed. She turned to face Lu Yuanshan and Lu Shuiqin, her voice ringing clear. Yuanshan, you wanted to meet Dr. Nan so badly, here he is. And Nanny Nan has finally told me the truth. Nanny Nan stepped up, glaring at Liu Shuiqin. Did you really think your hospital baby swap would stay hidden forever? I always knew something was off. I ran the DNA test. She slapped the report down. Yuanshan's hands shook as he read the paper. His face contorted. He whipped around and slapped Liu Shuiqin across the face. You despicable bitch! You traded my real son for your bastard! She shrieked, collapsing. Jinshin stared at the results, wailing. No, I'm the young master. I'm the rightful heir. I watched all this coldly. Status, wealth, and bloodlines. Things that once shackled men now felt completely meaningless. Boss, the car is ready, Jiyue whispered. As I turned to leave, a gentle hand caught mine. Somehow Su Wangqing was standing right behind me. She had changed into a dark dress, hiding the injury on her back, but her gaze was no longer cold. Mr. Liu, she spoke softly with a subtle warmth. Grandma's waiting at the hospital for us to go home. Looking at her, my heart melted. Sure, let's go home. As we left the hall, Su Xiao rushed up, sobbing hysterically. Lu Nanzhu, I was wrong. Can we go back to our college days without slowing down? I replied without looking back. Miss Su, you once said bastards and thugs belong together, and I think you and Lu Jingshin are the real perfect match. Behind me lay her desperate cries. Ahead was the glittering city night. In the car, Su Wangqing suddenly asked, when will you return that neurology book? I raised an eyebrow. Is President Su checking up on me? She looked away, her ears flushing red. I am just worried if you run away, Grandma will tear down the Su group. I laughed, wrapping my arm around her. She did not pull away. Don't worry, our contract is still active.